Good evening, everyone. Welcome. It's Thursday night. It's another night here at non-coronavirus central. We're all healthy. We're all safe. Hope everybody's having a great night. If you're quarantined, I'm really sorry. But hey, oh yeah, why is John so small?
We all might be quarantined.
Yes,
he's only in 10.2 something teraflop. That's right.
Oh, that's right.
There he goes.
Yeah, he's only running. Yeah, he's running it.
There you go. Enlarge me, Mike.
Enlarge me. Getting closer to 12.
There we go.
Right there. There you
go. John's not backward compatible.
Hey, put me a little closer to Chris. I'm feeling a little warm and fuzzy tonight. There we go.
Oh my God! Hey, what's up, Digger?
You got to have what 6 feet between each other.
Right, that's right. Social distancing. Social distancing. Social distancing. What's going on, everyone?
Hey, whoever starts coughing first, that's it. You're out.
That's right.
One sneeze, one cough, you're out.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh man, we said. We'll make him. Oops.
Hey, Mike's got too much power over there.
Right. We're gonna make him Mario. Doing, ding, ding. All right. All right. We'll leave poor John alone. No. Oh my goodness. What's up, J Street?
What's up, Uno De Netto?
Yeah.
He was the first one, so that's why I call him Uno De Netto.
I know. So. Hey, so hope everybody is, in all honesty, hope everybody is staying safe, staying healthy. What's up, Niall? Keeping yourselves stocked in food and medicines and stuff, and just.
Hopefully everybody has TP.
Yeah, I tell you, I still think some things are getting overblown, but. They've talked about, they put my county now in a state of emergency because they went from in Maryland, they went up to, they would get like 130 or 140 cases now. And I mean, the governor has shut down malls and restaurants after 5. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be long before they call the school year for the kids. Right now it's the 27th, but we got a communique from our school district that said we haven't got any new information yet from the state. And I'm just thinking, why would you say that if you didn't think something was coming? Mm-hmm. So I have a feeling this is something I don't think any of us have ever experienced in our lives, have we? I mean, I can't remember this ever.
No, I mean, I grew up here in Corpus. We've been through hurricanes. We've had to leave the city and go, out. And I remember one time we stayed at a shelter at one of the high schools, but nothing like this. To the point where you're struggling to find, necessities, everyday necessities that we all take for granted. So.
Yeah.
Even in the blizzard of 1978 we had here in Indiana, I was 6 or 7 years old, but. Even then, I mean, like I went to the grocery store. I can't find where I live in Hendricks County in Indiana. I can't find bread anywhere, toilet paper. And last time I went to the grocery store, I went to 2 or 3 different grocery stores, 2 or 3 different drug stores. Couldn't find any toilet paper whatsoever. I couldn't find any wipes. I went down the bread aisle, and they had 2 kinds of bread. They had like Aunt Millie's wheat on the left and Sunbeam, white bread on the right. And I grabbed a couple loaves of bread, but I mean, the shelves were empty. The hamburger was gone. I managed to pick up like a chuck roast, things, but like there were tons of things that were just flying off the shelves, especially canned goods,
And Niall saying,
what were those people doing before? They didn't eat, or what's the deal?
I don't know. I blame the media on this because we all know it's a serious issue and they're trying to prevent the spread of sickness, but people are losing their minds. Like, you don't need to buy 3 skids of toilet paper. You don't need to buy.
The thing is, like, you see empty shelves and you finally find toilet paper. What do? Do you just get one, or it's like,
well, I don't know.
But buying 3 skids, like going crazy and fighting people over it, like the stores need to curb that. Stores need to they need to 1 pallet per person, or whatever. But they got to put a clamp down on that.
Well, see,
that's ridiculous.
once they did all this quarantine stuff, and they're like quarantining people for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So what people are doing, they're like, well, I guess if I'm going to come down with this, I'm going to stock up in advance. That way, when I'm quarantined, I'll have it and I won't have to get out. And unfortunately, everybody at the same times went out. Now you're hard pressed to find anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I know
instead of sending money,
right,
for every person, they should just send,
every
week
toilet paper.
You get a roll of toilet paper.
I'm mad. I told my wife that I was just going to get naked, and she could put a dog collar on me, and she could just walk me around in the neighborhood. I can go to bathroom in these people's yards because they stole all my toilet paper. I mean, what's a guy to do?
That's a porn movie right there.
Yeah.
I mean, look. If you have to use that much toilet paper in a 14-day quarantine, you need to go to the doctor because something else is wrong with you.
You're right.
So, but yeah, I mean, Niall said, check out how bad Italy is. I mean, everybody is shutting down. I mean, Italy is shutting down. I have one of my engineers at my job. I don't know why they didn't cancel, but they decided to go to Ireland for their anniversary. So they came back. I think they're coming back either today or tomorrow, and my company has put him on mandatory 14-day quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what so the good news is that we've got video games.
At least you can come home. If you would be on a cruise ship, you will still be
floating around the Atlantic.
Yeah,
right.
Or Pacific, or wherever you might.
Pacific, or right. So but we have video games, guys. We have video games to keep us occupied.
Keeps us sane.
Yes, because
my
children, all 3 of my children, are home.
Well, it was funny, Mike, because there was a big article about how millennials were going to save us from the coronavirus. So I was reading it, and they were saying because millennials are so big with social media and they use their tablets and phones to communicate, they felt like they were at a lower risk. But now the statistics are showing that millennials aren't listening to the advice because they're going to do what they want to do anyway. So those are the ones that are still gathering together in large groups, going to the beaches and stuff like that. So now the numbers are going up in the millennials of people that are having this disease because they're just doing whatever they want to.
Yes. Yeah, because, oh, don't even get me started. And they're little, they've got the attention span of a small woodland creature. And so, no, it's,
Like J Street, he said, idiots.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right. I'd rather somebody in the chat room say it. So, but anyway, so it's good that we're all healthy. I'm glad everybody in the chat room is okay. Glad everybody who's watching the show is okay, and I hope you guys are, just be safe and do what you need to do to keep yourself safe. So, and Bourne said, new treatments and medicines are on their way. I did hear that today, that there is a possible vaccine that they just need to get tested, but
Right.
they think is very positive. So
Just go to a veterinarian.
right.
I mean, they have vaccines for, against a whole bunch of coronaviruses.
Right.
So, well,
And
while
known
we're
for humans, but I mean,
so
approved for humans.
while we're not allowed to leave the house, and by the way, I meant to say earlier, Frankie will be with us shortly. Just wait; he's on his way home from a hard day at the office because he still has to work. But when he gets in, we'll jump him into the call. But since we're stuck home alone for the most part, or home with kids where we need to get out of the same room as them, what have you guys been playing?
Ori.
All right, so
Pretty much.
that's right. So you were going to give us your Ori and the Blind Forest review. Your quick and dirty.
Man, happy moments, cussing moments, anything in between. Now I got stuck somewhere where it's like a ginormous spider, and I don't know. This it's like a boss fight, but I don't think I can leave it. So I have to fight or give up. The game, that is.
Gotcha. Hang on one sec. We're bringing in the
The tiebreaker.
yes, we're bringing in the Viper. So, and boom,
Oh, there he is.
there he is. Hold on, I gotta.
Working?
Yes.
Yeah, Vapor Guy.
Viper strike, not with an eye.
Yeah.
Never. Not with an eye.
Not with an eye. I can't believe
How you
I
guys
can't
doing?
believe you're actually upset
So,
with me
Frankie?
that I didn't misspell your name.
Can't mess with tradition, man.
No, this is true. How you doing, brother?
It's been a week. It's been a week.
I think we've all said that.
Hey. Dude, this whole virus thing is starting to piss me off, honestly. So there's a lot of places now, like nursing homes and whatnot, and they want to take your temperature before you enter the building.
Yep.
Right.
I'm like, I just
Hey, at least they don't do rectal, right?
I don't know.
Sign me up.
I didn't
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh,
hang
man.
on.
So
Frankie
yeah,
got
it's
big.
been weird. It's been a weird week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been tough. Everybody in the world is being sent home to work from
But you-
home, so
I'm
Which
not.
essential.
I'm essential.
that's true.
Somebody.
You are
Someone needs
somebody.
money in their pocket. So
That's right.
I mean,
You
who's
are
going to deliver
something.
Animal Crossing and stuff, tomorrow?
mine be here tomorrow.
Damn.
Mine's coming up Monday.
Oh wow,
All right.
yeah, that's right, because they launched Doom Eternal early, which I did not get a chance. I missed that. So, what is going on here? Sorry guys, the Skype windows are jumping in and out.
Yeah.
Hey,
But,
digital, so midnight.
Yeah. Hey, I saw on Game Pass that Ace Combat 7, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Juan mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
So I needed
Good,
to play
good
it.
game.
Yes, I'm all right. Here, I don't know what's
Finally,
going
my lazy buying habits are paying off. I've been meaning to buy that game for so long now.
on. I just don't buy
I
a
bought it
lot
when
of
it was on
games.
sale.
I just don't buy a lot of
Black Friday.
games. Because eventually they're going to come to Game Pass. And I'm going to get to play it. So, like Ori.
Mm.
So, all right. So you were, so you were giving us your non-spoiler Ori and the Blind Forest review there, Peter.
Yeah. Certain puzzles are a lot of fun. Other ones, like you pull your hair out. It's a beautiful game. Good sound, good visuals. Just
Awesome
all around
soundtrack.
nice. All around a nice package. I think it was yesterday I encountered my first crash the dashboard. I guess it happens. I mean, there's a couple of areas where it stutters a little bit. Or stutters, basically it's kind of frozen for a second and then it gets going. But overall, it's a good game.
Is it as good as the first?
I don't know. I got stuck in the first one like pretty early on, and so I don't remember. It's been too long.
Okay. Anybody in the chat room who's playing Ori, let us know what you think of the game as well. I haven't started it yet because I'm stuck on Bloodstained. For some reason, I decided to play it again, and I got past the part that I couldn't get past, and now I'm like, I've got 60% of the map open, and I finally got an ability that gets me to a part of the map I couldn't get to before. So now I'm like, damn it, now I have to get through this game. So
yeah, I never got past the first boss. You said shoot its mouth, shoot her mouth, and it's like I don't know.
Have you opened it yet, Frankie?
Nice.
Of course not. Who does that? Who opens games? No, I downloaded it on Xbox, but I had store credit, so I.
Frankie, hold that up there again. You're giving us some kind of isometric weird view. Let me see that. There we go. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's still sealed.
All right. Did you how far did you get on Xbox?
I haven't started yet.
Okay.
I got a question. So the Master Chief Collection, I went to resume playing that because I think I'd started it with Brent maybe at some point. I don't know. But anyways, I was like 4 or 5 chapters in, and I'm guessing there was an update that messed everything up, and then it's showing that I've completed every campaign mission in all of the games except for Reach, which is not accurate. So I went to finish Halo 1, which I finished the Maw, did the stupid Warthog thing at the end, all that crap. Didn't get the achievement for beating that level, and I didn't get the achievement for finishing Halo 1. So I'm wondering if this update also, if you were in progress on a campaign, like gotta start over.
That level at the end of Halo 1, man, when you're in the Warthog, it's frustrating because it's so floaty when you're driving through there. And I guess it's not difficult if you just ease off the controller, but if you're aggressive with it and try to get through that, you're bouncing all over the place with the Warthog. It's floating around like a balloon.
Terrible. Otherwise, great game. I'm glad I finally finished it. I've been slowly chipping away at that backlog, so Halo was up next, and I'm glad I knocked one off, so now I got, 3, 4 more to go?
Let me know. I'm always available to co-op, and 3 and 4 are 4-player co-op, so, you got a crew here.
I like that.
Yeah.
I will let you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe one of these days I'll get quarantined and actually get to play games.
That's what I'm waiting for, too.
Also, I need to bitch. John, did you get the Steelbook for Neo?
No, actually, I was going to. At the time, I did not get the Steelbook. I went ahead and I got the digital version on that. What did I get? I bought a few games lately.
Look, this looks really cool.
Right.
The art on the Steelbook is great, but there's no fucking name on the spine. Why can't we put names on the spines of Steelbooks? Why is that asking so much?
Because
you're supposed to put them on display.
Showing off the front. Yeah, but the front part, they're not.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know. That's a poor excuse.
Oh no, I mean I think that's the Steelbook. You're showing off the art on the cover.
Yeah. Maybe. It's
See, I don't know. I'm weird about them Steelbooks, Frankie. I like the Steelbooks once in a while. I much like if I really love a game, I'm almost more prone to get like one of the collector's editions or something that has more than just that has the, because usually those have the Steelbook and some, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think with Neo, that's all they had was the Steelbook. They didn't have a collector's edition like anything. I think it was just a Steelbook.
Yeah, but I mean, look, Monster Hunter World, right? Has cool Steelbook for the Master Edition.
Very nice.
Look what they could do. They could put the name on the goddamn spine. Why can't Neo do it?
Well, isn't it that
True.
most of them, or quite a few, come with a sleeve?
Yeah.
And it's on the
Yeah,
sleeve?
here's the thing though. So Neo has the box, this
Right.
annoying giant box, right?
No.
So yeah, there's the name on the side, but I'm not putting this whole freaking box in the goddamn shelf. Why would I do that?
Oh,
Who
you
does
got
that?
to. I do. I love boxes. You can't
I
get rid
throw
of
those
boxes.
out.
Boxes
I
have
throw
all
them
that
out.
on them.
I don't
Born,
know.
Born says marketing
You can't
at its
do
finest.
that. You got to keep your boxes.
Hell no.
I still have all my Xbox console boxes and
You know,
everything. All my each controller that I bought, I've got a box for. You got to keep them.
You know, I keep some, like you see them. I got them up on the wall. I kind of do in a way keep as many boxes as I can, but I don't keep
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
I have
keep
some.
controller boxes and stuff. Although you
Oh,
know
yeah?
what,
Look.
I actually, you know what, that's not true because I even have my PSVR box still.
There you go.
Limited run can put
Nice.
names
Oh,
on
hang
the
on a
spine.
Well, it's
I haven't cracked this open yet, the Psychonauts Collector's Edition, but I'm pretty sure the name is on the spine because Limited Run understands.
I did get the Yakuza Remastered collection, Frankie.
Yeah, the Digipack.
No, yeah. Well,
Yep,
and
it's a
it's
Digipack,
got the-
and it has empty
has the
PS3 case in it.
in it. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's got your Yakuza on the spine.
I don't even know what to do with this thing, this mammoth Star Wars bounty hunter thing. Like,
Wait, what is
Oh,
that?
that's nice.
what is that? Hold on.
The Limited Run. Limited Run did a collector's edition for
Bounty Hunter.
Star
Bounty
Wars
Hunters.
Bounty Hunter on the PS4.
Why don't I remember that? What was that? A
I don't know.
PS4
Was it
only game?
Possibly.
I don't remember that game at all.
I think it was in that 4-pack when Battlefront came out. So
Oh,
they had like Super Star Wars and I think Bounty Hunter. There was a pod racing game and one other one I can't remember.
all right.
Yeah, Frank. I still have my Forza collector's edition boxes for all my Forza games too.
Nice.
I just can't, for some reason, I can't get rid of these nice boxes. Some of them are like real nice. They're like, you know, like women's Estee Lauder. When you open it up, the boxes are like made.
Yeah.
Wait,
They're
how
made
did
real nice. I can't get rid of it. It's not just like a cheap box. It's actually a nice box. You know.
how do you know about this, Estee Lauder?
Oh, my
Reprobate.
wife, you know.
Hold on, everyone,
throwing
stop!
Boxes come all the time.
Stop
My mom
the
used to
show.
use that all the time. She used to powder herself before church, and I remember those little,
Hey.
like aqua-colored Estee Lauder boxes, man, and she'd have powder everywhere. And oh yeah,
Stop!
just one of my childhood memories.
Stop the show. Reprobate is in the house. What's up, brother?
What's up, Rip?
It's we haven't seen him in a while. It is great to have you in tonight, man. He's been busy. He's been
See
busy.
him on Twitter once in a while.
Yep.
He must be
Nah.
quarantined. You're in quarantine, sir? No.
He is not in quarantine, it appears. So, so anyway, so Chris, what have you been doing? What have you been playing?
Nothing. Just been working, stressing out a little bit with all this crap going on and the way people are acting. But playing some Pedro right now. And
Yeah?
this weekend I plan on playing Witcher 3 and get Animal Crossing for the girls. So play around with that with them. So
Okay.
They're
that's
getting
about
Animal
it.
Crossing too tomorrow, so
Yeah.
curious if my daughter likes it or not. find out.
Yeah, that's what I want to see too. I know my oldest loves it. I enjoyed playing it, and so I'll see the 6-year-old, get her introduced into it.
Nice.
So see how long she likes to play it. Got to put some time in it. So we'll see. And unfortunately, she has some time right now.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well,
Yeah.
it depends on whether she feels it's fortunate or not. My kids feel it's fortunate for sure.
Yeah, I tell you what, if I would have been great. Me and my brothers growing up, we always loved playing video games. We would have been all right. Let's go.
Yeah.
Jump on the Nintendo.
Nice.
What? I'm off of school for 2 weeks. All right.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
My son, my oldest son, found The Escapist. So that's what he's been playing, The Escapists.
Okay.
So, all right. And what about you, brother John? What have you been doing?
Well, I've got 2 trophies left to get my platinum in Days Gone, and one of them's to get to unlock 45 skills. So I finished all the missions, every mission you can do, everything you can do in the game. So basically, I have to kill 7 or 8 more zombie hordes, and that'll give me enough experience points, and I can unlock that final skill. Then I'll get the platinum trophy. And I did, however, the last couple nights, one of my favorite games, MLB The Show. I got the latest 2020. I started playing that. I created my character for franchise mode. I also did some because I manage the whole thing. I do the 40-man roster. I do all the trade deadlines. I do everything. I like total control. But I made my character, made him as close to me as I could, inserted him in my favorite team, and I started playing. I've played 3 or 4 franchise games. It's really awesome, though. It's my favorite sports game, and it's one of those games that just seems to get. And Xbox fans next year have a good reason to be excited because you're going to get to play it too. And but it's one of those sports games, especially if you're a baseball fanatic like me. They do each year. I know a lot of people say, well, it's the same game, but each year they seem to do these little tweaks or they change things around. It's like they're always improving that game, and it's like a real good seller. It has been like one of the top 10 or 15 games for Sony for years. So that game, year in, year out, does phenomenal numbers. Now more people will get to enjoy to play it next year when, and I'm real excited about that because we'll be playing on the new consoles. So I'm sure it's going to look even better. So I'm really, really excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, the screenshots you were showing, that thing looked good.
It's butter smooth, the gameplay, and the last couple games they've really worked on the gameplay, and it's hard to find much fault with the game.
Well, my baseball game that I've loved the last couple of years was Super Mega Baseball. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to Super Mega Baseball 3, which is coming out next month.
They added pickoff moves to that game,
They
Mike.
did.
They added pickoff moves. Yeah.
Wild pitches. DH. They finally got DH because they didn't have that before. And the characters look a little more stout than they did before. Although I liked the look of it. But they really, I tell you, one of the things that they do well is they mix enough simulation in there to make it fun, but give you some sort of feel that that
you're still playing the game.
Yeah, that you're still playing a game. That you're still playing a real baseball game. Because I was actually also looking at RBI Baseball 2020, and they've done a decent job with the look of that. And that one actually is starting to look more like the RBI Baseball that I used to play on the Genesis and on the 32X. So it's probably the best looking one they've had so far, and it's still, of course, just RBI Baseball. So they're not trying to be the show. They're not trying to be, anything else other than, a $30 baseball game. But it actually looks really nice.
One of the things, Mike, that I really like about the show is, like, I was talking about creating my character. After you can create your character yourself, kind of in the likeness of yourself, and you can customize everything from the color of the cleats to the tar on your baseball helmet, on the baseball bat, what type of glove. I mean, there's endless customization, but you can actually, it's got a huge list of first and last names, and it will actually, like my name, it's got John and place, so it actually announces my name if you select it to that. So when I go up to bat, and there's something really cool about that, because my favorite team, whether you like it or not, I'm a big Yankees fan, so I always insert myself in first base because that's what I played in college. So whoever's playing first base.
What?
Yeah. So I insert myself at first base, and I take the Yankees player out that's at first, and that's how I play my franchise season. But there's something special when you go up to bat and the announcer says, "Now batting, John Place," and it's that immersion of having your own character getting to play, like, makes it really cool.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Because I know someone else that got put in a video game there, Mr. Moles.
I know a guy.
Yeah. That's still one of my hallmarks of my life.
Right.
So I'll never forget that. I will never. That's one of my all-time things. So.
I tell you what, Xbox fans are in for a real treat, because next year when they get to play that, or they get an option to play that, because it's been a long time since you've had a AAA baseball game on the console. So I'm actually excited for it, and that's actually going to bring in more money for that game. And they're going to be able to do a lot of neat things with that now that they've got both fan bases being able to play that. And I'm sure that crossplay, I could see that happening. So,
that would be awesome.
I mean, I'm sure that's not out of the realm of possibility. So,
well, with the baseball season being delayed a little bit, maybe in one of the coming weeks we could do kind of a baseball game showdown where.
Oh, how exciting!
Frankie,
it'll be one of those.
Get out of here with your spineless Steelbooks.
Yeah. So yeah. Come on, it's baseball, Frankie. This is not esports.
Jeez.
Come on,
sourpuss.
Baseball. Yeah, I'm not even talking about like football or esports.
Look
at baseball, Frankie.
He's like Samson. He lost his hair, his beard, and now he doesn't have any more strength. Look at him.
We're not talking about soccer.
Look at him.
Born said better than World Series Baseball by Sega. No. Let's not. Let's calm down. World Series Baseball was in a league by itself, right there with Sports Talk Baseball. You remember Sports Talk Baseball for the Genesis?
Sports ball baseball.
Oh my God, that was awesome.
I was a big hardball fan. I liked that. I played hardball.
I loved that one. That was a great game. So Born is all right. So I got to tell the story really, really quick, because Born is saying, "What game were you in?" So without going into the long and drawn out, I am a relief pitcher for the 1988 unlockable LA Dodgers in MLB. What the hell? 2K. Crap. Which one? 2K6, I think.
Nice.
And it's really cool because you can, if you find a copy on Xbox 360 or PS3, I'm in there. You unlock the 88 Dodgers, and what's really cool about it is John Miller says my name. That's really that was like the big highlight for me was to hear not just the stadium announcer, but to hear John Miller call my name was just unbelievable. So yeah, it's 2K6. So it's Major League Baseball 2K6 from 2K Sports. Jago. Yeah, we got the Bubble Boy suit. No, we're all healthy.
Yeah, that. Speaking of that, though, Jago reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where they had Bubble Boy.
Right.
Where they went to visit him, and that guy was all crabby and everything. Yeah.
Did you guys see the movie?
Yeah.
Did you see Bubble Boy? That was the beginning of Jake Gyllenhaal's career.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God! All right, so let's get on to what we were going to get on about, and I want to start with just showing off. Well, first we got to get to our product of the week.
Yes.
We can't go without the product of the week, and this week we've got a good one. Right. This one even brings me back to my youth.
That's many years ago.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Many years ago. He ain't lying. He ain't lying. Oh, wrong one. I grabbed the wrong. I wanted to get the one. I didn't want to, because somebody else. Hang on. Oh, here it is.
What's this stuff? Some cereal. It's supposed to be good for you. I'm not gonna try it. Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Regular, cinnamon, and raisin life. Nutritious, delicious.
Life cereal. Oh my goodness. I used to eat that shit too. And everybody teased me because my name is Mike. No. Jago is salty today. What's going on? All right.
Oh no.
Yeah, right? Man, Jago needs some sleep.
It's all because of Frankie. Frankie's spreading that foulness.
Yeah.
So he started talking about baseball and he just...
Right.
Can't believe you. You know better.
That's true. I did.
The worst.
Frankie was over there sleeping like he was when we had Mike Micah on the show.
Right? Oh, my goodness. All right. So first thing I wanted to go over is something we won't talk about too much. But I gotta show this video that Tommy Tallarico and Intellivision posted a couple of days ago with the updated lineup of what's coming. And now this stuff is, as you can see, work in progress and things. I'll turn the sound down a little bit. But there's Echo the Dolphin. Yeah. So, yeah. And here's a new game, Safecracker. I like the fact that they're bringing some new stuff to this console. This gives me shades of these arcade racing games we used to play in the arcades.
Right.
RC Pro-Am.
RC Pro-Am and there's Shark. So I mean this stuff looks great. Not all of it looks great, but I mean stuff like this when it gets finished and polished. I think this is one of the packing games, little cornhole.
Yeah.
There's Breakout, which we've seen already, and in this game, this is my right here, Astro Smash. This is gonna be my jam.
See, cornhole's like one of those games. It's like the aerobic warm-up game you play just to kind of warm up a little bit, toss a few bags.
Stretch your right. Yeah, get you out.
Yeah.
I mean, this makes me. I can't believe that at Armor Battle. I can't believe that this thing is still 7 months away. I can't hold out that much longer. Bomberman. So we're getting a Bomberman.
Nice.
Yep. There's a little bit of a little update to Pong. Isn't that cool?
Look at that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And see what's cool about a lot of this stuff. This is a lot of stuff that I could play with my daughter, my little one.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, and you know, it's not nothing. It's not very complicated. Have a little bit of fun. She is competitive. So yeah.
Yep. Missile Command.
Oh, look at this. This is going to
Yes.
be one that I like. Look at that.
Yes.
Oh, that I'm all over that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Oh,
looks
that's
cool.
totally me. Yeah.
Yahtzee.
Huh.
Here's
Oh
the
wow.
here's the pack-in.
Ooh.
And this is pack-in. This game's coming with
Nice.
the system.
Look at that. That's like a scene from one of those old James Bond movies where he's skiing down the mountain,
Right?
Yeah.
The guys
trying to
chasing
get away
after
from
him.
the avalanche. You know.
Yep. These guys chasing after him with guns. That's a pack-in game. There's the avalanche.
There it is.
Oh, wow.
See?
Triple action. There was a little bit of
Oh,
triple
nice.
action. Whatever. Asteroids. River Raid. And
Yeah.
here's the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game. And oh my god, I marked out for that. Moon Patrol.
Moon Patrol.
How is it?
Yeah,
I'm
just-
Night Stalker.
Yeah.
How
That
is
looks
it?
cool.
I'm more excited for the Amico than I am. The two new consoles.
The two new consoles are too soon.
I think, well, we all have a lot of nostalgia. I'm sure Chris, because I like a lot of old Nintendo stuff too, and I know Chris does too. Just some of the older consoles we played on, like the Dreamcast, the Saturn, the Nintendo, the NES. They're just some memories we had as kids that I don't think we'll ever let go of. I think that's what the attraction is.
Well, but you're right. But there's some nostalgia in there. But
Right.
just to see, and it's, while we're talking, I'm gonna roll this thing again and just turn the sound off. I mean, some of the games that are in here. I mean, just to get another Echo the Dolphin. I mean,
Oh yeah.
But something like this that the controller's gonna have a big thing to do with. A game like this, and you're right. Chris, my kids and I will have a ball with this.
Yeah, it's just good. It's good, fun gaming. That's it. Simple gaming. Not, like I said, you don't have to get all complicated. You can have fun, and then you can have 4 controllers. Plus, you can use your phone.
Right. So my kids can have the controllers, and I can use my phone as a controller.
And a lot of the kids, and that's smart for them to use the phones, because a lot of kids already play games on phones. So, but what's cool about a lot of these games that we grew up with from Atari and Intellivision, that they're updated. So, the kids nowadays, they're a little bit more attractive to them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Especially when you have, when I saw the game Yahtzee, we play Yahtzee once in a while, and we introduced it to my 6-year-old.
Yeah.
So that's something that we can sit down on the couch and just play digitally. So I think she'll get a kick out of that. So
I'd like to see that bring some other tabletop games like Sorry and Sorry Sliders and Trouble and Battleship, which I think I thought he said something like Battleship was coming.
Yeah, that'd be a great one.
Trouble with the Pop-O-Matic bubble.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, I know he was talking about Monopoly. But Missile Command, this is just, Missile Command is going to be awesome to play. And you can see how that game was multiplayer. Multiple people were firing into the air at one time.
This Evel Knievel game, what is that? I'm all over that.
It almost looks like a Trials type game.
Right.
Those are, again, these are just, what'll be great about these is they're also just pick up and play. I don't feel like getting involved in a big, I don't feel like playing Call of Duty Warzone today. So maybe I'll just pop in some skiing, some triple action, play a little Asteroids. That's River Raid. That was River Raid. And then this that. Mm, mm, mm.
I'll have what Mike's having.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am so right. How many teraflops does it have? This is what I was so concerned a month ago that I would have to give up my pre-order. I cannot wait for this to be a Founders Edition owner of this console is going to be so awesome. So.
Oh yeah.
And Tommy found my Earthworm Jim book, so I was able to breathe a heavy sigh of relief once he said, "Oh yeah, I got it." Sitting in a pile of month-old mail, and I'm like, "Good. You can get it back to me whenever. Just as long as you have it." So, Niall, I did not get the mini Genesis. Be quite honest with you, I didn't. It didn't have all the games that I would want to have in it. So, and since I have my Sega CD collection, I am free to use an emulator to emulate my Sega CD games. I just take my CD and I pop it in a drive, and it reads it, and I get to play Sega CD, and I've got some 32X games, and I play my 32X games. So, but yeah, I agree with Jago. I think this is going to be a sleeping giant. I think people are. I think, and this is just me looking at these games. I can't wait to get this thing in my hands.
You know, imagine if this Amico came out earlier, and
That's
people were able to
Bomberman.
play it right now. Play it now during the quarantine. You know, more people are at home, and you know, it would have been a cool thing to have.
Yeah.
No,
Play
we're
with
not
families.
encouraging social gatherings, Chris. How dare you?
No, you just quarantine social gatherings in the house. That's it.
No,
Yeah.
online.
You're right.
Online multiplayer with a headset.
That you've disinfected after you've played on it.
Yes. No.
No.
So
I'm not sick.
The-
I'm not disinfecting anything.
I saw the deal said pre-orders March 31st.
Yes, for VIP.
VIP.
Yeah. They don't get a Founders Edition, though.
Nerd.
That's right.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
take a look at the. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put a pre-order. I think I want
I
the black
thought
one.
you.
I
I'm
want
sorry.
that.
I wasn't trying to. I wasn't trying to
badly wanna
mock
get
it.
them.
I wasn't trying to mock anybody. I didn't realize you didn't get a Founders Edition.
No, I wasn't trying to.
Oh, okay.
You can get
Oh,
a VIP
I
edition.
want the,
You have the VIP edition.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna try. Yeah.
Okay.
I think March 30th.
Yeah, we'll see it in a
Yeah.
second. Peter John and I
yeah.
got the Founder.
Chris
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
here for that episode, was he?
No, I was here with Tommy.
Yeah, he was here, but he
yeah.
didn't announce the Founders Edition until that Sunday.
Oh, yeah. So
Oh,
the
yeah,
week
what's
after
the name?
then.
I
Yeah,
tell you,
right. Or that
I'm
was
more
right.
excited
Yeah.
about that wood grain finish on it, man. That's
Mhm.
what I'm all over that, man. It
Yeah.
reminds me of the old
March
station
31st.
wagon.
I have to check the difference between the VIP and Founders edition. What
Well,
you get with it? Because
remember-
I don't like wood grain.
I don't either.
Well, remember with the Founders Edition, you also get all the other stuff with it, including that $50.
Yeah,
put-
I think the VIP it's $25, but you still get a bunch of other stuff with it.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. We can find out in a second. I wasn't even bothering to look because I got the Founders Edition. So hold on. Let me see if it's on the site here. I'm already all right. So it doesn't say anything. It just says limited VIP edition pre-order. I'm already on the list, so I'm sure we'll get the email for it. It doesn't. There's nothing on here that says what it comes with at the moment. So
Maybe it wasn't FaceTime. I don't know. Check.
I got the little Sega Genesis Mini, but I haven't had a chance to really play it that much yet. So
yeah, just
I don't like.
I wish
those
they came out with
microconsoles.
the Sega Master Mini.
yeah.
the problem
'cause-
is, I just buy them because they're cool to have. Like, Now, I will say this: the Commodore 64 Mini, I played that quite a bit when I got that, man. I heard the summer games and and the winter games music. It gave me chills, man. And I played those events over and over. That brought back some memories.
Oh, I bet.
One button, one joystick.
I bet. I don't see anything on Intellivision's Twitter page yet about what comes with the VIP pre-order.
Okay, here it's on their Facebook site.
Okay.
Following a sold-out Founders
Never heard
Edition
of it.
program launched in January and selling out within hours, Intellivision is excited to announce a limited VIP edition pre-order program for the highly anticipated Amigo system, beginning March 31st. Fans who take advantage of the pre-order will gain access to the Graphite Black and Glacier White consoles for the first time, as well as a second chance to secure the vintage wood grain model. Including in the VIP edition program are a $25 RFID Amico Digital Game Store gift, a 25% off online merchandise store discount code, a lenticular Running Man trading card signed by Tommy Tallarico, and 3 digital video game soundtrack albums, including Earthworm Jim Anthology. And with a $100 refundable deposit, the pre-order bundle is $249 for Graphite Black or Glacier White and $279 for vintage wood grain. And there you have it.
That's it.
Okay. All right.
No, I don't remember what came with the,
That's a lot of stuff.
besides wood grain.
Excuse me.
It's still
It's still a good deal.
That is still a good deal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Mike, and like you were saying, you're more excited about the Amico, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't blame you. I mean, and it's like Frankie said, sometimes it does feel a little too soon, because I mean, the Xbox One X and the Pro is still very capable. You still got Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2. You still got a few games that are coming out this year that are going to be still great to play on the Xbox One and the X and the PS4 Pro. I mean, so, and then adding the Amico, just as a break from Xbox and PlayStation. Just something different.
Yeah.
What they have about the excitement for the Amigo is it's more about family.
Yeah.
Like the
Yes.
Xbox or PlayStation, that's just for me, really.
Yeah.
The Amigo is for the family, where we can all play, and they'll be much more excited about that than an Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It is. That's true. I mean, it really
Well,
is.
thank God my wife, she plays on all the systems too, so it makes it really easy for me because she's loves gaming like we all do here. So it makes it easy. Anytime anything new comes out, I've automatically got the green light from her. So it's
Nice.
like,
Nice.
I got to get it.
Nice. Frankie,
Yeah, my wife doesn't mind. So
Frankie, you got a Founders Edition? I can't remember.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
yeah.
I thought that you did.
Oh yeah. I'm very excited.
I know.
Frankie, you're awful busy there. What are you doing?
I'm bagging and boarding comics from last week because I didn't get to it
Nice.
because I'm lazy.
See, De Niro loves you, man. He says you're always on a green light, John. That's all right. So
That's right.
Well,
I want
so
to be John's wife. Takes her out to dinner.
Hey, wait a second. I may have something to say about that.
Takes her out to dinner all the time.
yeah, spends $350 on steak for her.
Yeah.
My wife
and
would
then you
divorce
can
me
still
if I
play
did.
all the games and systems
Yeah.
with them too.
He'll buy all the games. I mean, she's
Yeah.
got it made.
Hey, you
I
can
want that
package
life.
all my comics and my baseball cards too.
I'll do that.
Hello. Yeah, that's serious.
Yeah.
Little
That's
tit
getting
for
serious
tat.
right there.
Uh,
Hey,
uh,
what's it? Annihilator, and I agree with him. He says Tommy Tallarico sounds like he thinks of GTA Vice City, which Tommy does look like a character from Vice. From, GTA.
He does. He's kind of like a mafia
Yeah,
guy.
my
kind.
God.
He's got that mafia swagger,
He's a character from GTA Vice City. Oh my God, we have to tell him that next time we see
It's the
him.
Ballad of Gay Tommy.
All right. Hey now. Okay. Woo. Which, by the way, just a reminder, the intro music that you heard was from his Terminator Sega CD soundtrack, which he has graciously allowed us to use. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
One of the best soundtracks on the Sega CD. That game needs to be re-released.
I know. I would say from an overall standpoint, I could go with that. I might swap that with Batman Returns, but they're both right there. I would say like 1.1 and 1.2. Those are my
Batman Returns on the Sega CD is awesome.
A great soundtrack. So,
awesome soundtrack.
Well, Spencer Nilsson. I mean, next guy we got to get in here to talk to us. So, all right. So, since the Amico was not the only thing that people were talking about this week, I guess we can talk about some of the new consoles coming out. So we do have. So this week was, I guess because it was supposed to be GDC, folks decided to do their tech specs and stuff like that online. Some folks did it almost Mystery Science Theater 2K style, 3K style. Somebody brought out Dana Carvey and Bob Ross to do a presentation, but happy little geometry engines. But in all seriousness, we joke, but the truth of the matter is that everybody but me is excited for these new consoles, and
you're a little bit excited too. Come on now.
You're excited, Mike. Yeah.
I mean,
hug that console. Hug it, buddy.
Someone impressed me. What you heard?
Hug them all.
Hug him if you got him.
He's been hanging out with me too much.
Well, look.
I think Mike likes to go against the grain just to do it. Mike's kind of like that. He likes that. Yeah.
let me explain it for you because I get it. Because we bought the X, we have I don't know, you didn't buy a Pro, but either way, we had these consoles that just came out 3 years ago that are upgraded from the ones that launched
3 years before that.
7 years ago. So it's like I don't feel like we're getting our money's out of the X yet. You know what I mean? Like a lot of games coming out now, I feel like they're still not doing on the X what they should be doing. So I don't want to hear about a new console that's, it's 4K, 120 frames a second. Like, cool. Why don't you give me 60 frames first? We still have games that struggle to hit that. And I don't understand why.
The other thing too, Frankie, like if Xbox just comes out with one model, that's 4 consoles in 7 years. If they come out with a lower end model plus their 12 terabyte, that's 5 consoles, different consoles in 7 years. PlayStation has 4. So both companies have put out different iterations, a lot of them. I mean, in the past, I would have never thought that any company would put out 4 different models, 5 different models within a 7-year period. That's just unheard of.
Yeah. I mean, it started with the PS3 360 era where you have the Slim and the Slim Plus, whatever
but those weren't necessarily improvements over the base model outside of like being a smaller console.
Right.
Like you went from an Xbox One.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
they were a little
bit
more.
No.
I mean, it's like
saying.
it's like the Xbox One S.
Right.
I mean,
but,
it's
again,
there was
a
point though. Slim,
well, like
but then you get some more extra stuff.
I don't know. Well, like with the 360 Elite that added the HDMI.
Right.
Yeah.
And a larger hard drive.
I think what it may be, guys, is that I think no matter what game or what console you play on, I think there's some mystique when you don't have I think we've just had too many consoles pushed in our faces in a short period of time. If Microsoft and Sony had just came out with a base model and an upgraded model 3 or 4 years later and left it like that, I don't think it would be as bad. But the fact that we have 4 or 5 iterations, I think that kind of takes away the excitement, because now it's every year and a half you're getting excited.
Well,
it's kind of hard
but
to
it's
get
and it's
excited.
not just that, but it's the cost. I mean, I'm expecting the Xbox Series X, and that's where we're going to start. I'm expecting the Xbox Series X to cost at least $500 and possibly $600. And
I would agree with the 500.
And Frankie hit it on the head. For me, just me personally, you know, I bought the Xbox One at launch, spent $500 on that, railed against the Xbox One X, and yet day one I had it pre-ordered, so it's another $500. And now, 3 years later, I'm being asked to do it again.
Okay, so your mistake was then getting the X.
Well, because I didn't think that they really
because
would.
every you know, I mean, going back to console generation, there are like about 7 years, right?
Well, the 360 went 10 years.
Well, Peter.
Okay.
Peter, I kind of agree with Peter.
And the
on that
OG
one.
was even short. It was super short.
Oh yeah. But the OG was Microsoft's kind of Trojan horse. They knew it wasn't going to go anywhere really, but what they wanted to do with the original OG was get their foot in the door. And once they got their foot in the door, then Jay Allard and company went after put in the fifth gear and threw and got the 360 together. But the 360 was so good that it lasted a decade.
Right.
And you're right, Peter. I can't argue that point with you. I was the one sitting here a year before the X came out saying this is Microsoft's apology console. F them. I am not gonna. Oh look, it's on my shelf. And I think the reason is because I got sold on. What I got sold on with the X was the super sampling and how it affected my 1080p TV. That's the reason I did not get a Pro at the time, was because super sampling was only available on certain games, whereas with the X, it was a system level feature. Well, the thing about the PS4 that Sony banks on, and they have a good point with, is that, to be perfectly honest, even on my 4K TV, the base PS4 still looks freaking awesome. When I put in God of War, the only thing I think I would have missed out of not having a PS Pro for God of War would have been playing it in 60 frames per second in performance mode. But to play that game on a 4K TV with a base model looked incredible. So for me, go ahead.
Right.
I did what Peter said. Like, I bought the original Xbox One, of course. I bought the 2 day one consoles, and I still have those because I refused to trade in my old consoles. But I got the original, and then I got the Xbox Slim right away. I was like one of the first ones when it came out. I was real excited. I mean, it had the Slim there was a little uptick on the clock speed on the console, and it also allowed you to play 4K movies and stuff. So that was a substantial upgrade there. And not to knock Sony, but when they came out with the PS4 Slim, they did some things with the ports and stuff like that, and there really wasn't much going on there. That PS4 Slim really wasn't much of an upgrade, but the Xbox Slim...
Just before they took out the optical port out of the PS4 Slim, right?
I don't know, Peter. I
just want to make a footnote of it for conversation.
I thought they did.
I
know where you're going with that. Hang on, I'll look that up while you guys are talking. And by the way,
okay, sorry for interrupting.
No.
Oh, you're fine. There were a couple things missing. So the PS4 and my Slim, in fact, it was more all that was. It was a different iteration, but that was to look just more like the Pro model. There wasn't really much of an upgrade with the Slim.
Yeah.
Now the Xbox Slim from the Xbox One, yeah, that's a substantial upgrade because they upped the clock speed. It allowed you to play 4K movies. They went with the smaller console design with Panay. You know, he came out with the new console, so that was a substantial
built-in power supply. You know.
Yeah.
So
supply.
when I got that and I heard that the X was coming out, I thought, well, the Xbox One X sounds like an awesome console, but I knew right around the corner they were going to be coming out with this console this year. So I didn't buy the X because I thought at some point you have to make a decision like, do I buy each and every iteration or do I skip? Because there's no sense in having 4 or 5 different models within such a short period of time.
Yeah. And by the way,
I mean, it just doesn't make sense, you know.
So, Peter, you are correct. They pulled the optical audio out of the Slim.
Okay.
And while I got a second, I do want to say hello to McAval and Project Jeff. Welcome in, guys.
What's going on, guys?
I just want to say hello.
One thing,
Go ahead, Chris.
Now we're talking about all these different, iterations. I bought the Xbox One when it came out. I bought the S because I like the way it looked, and plus I wanted an extra Xbox in the house.
Right.
Because I didn't want, and then of course I was excited when the X came out, so I picked that up. And I gave my OG, the Xbox One, to my nephew.
Well, see, I think me holding out, Chris, like since I didn't buy the X, I'm more excited for the Series X now because it's been a while since I bought an Xbox console. So my excitement meter's like out of the roof now because I haven't bought one,
But I'm very excited for the Series X because now I'm looking at it like, okay, now I can move the S to my 6-year-old's room. Right. I can put the X into the living room, and I'm going to have the Series X in my game room.
Exactly.
So I'm good there. I had the Slim, and I enjoyed playing on the Slim. And then I got rid of it. And then when I got a 4K TV, when I decided to get another PS4, I decided, well, let me get the Pro because I got a 4K TV. So, but really, the Pro was nice, but it wasn't a big leap from the PS4. And when I played on the PS4 Slim, the game still looked great. Played no problem. So, but when I look at the Series X, I do think it's going to be a nice leap from the X. And of course, the PS5 is going to be a much bigger leap from the Pro.
Chris, I still have my original Xbox One. It's plugged in downstairs in our family room. I've got consoles like in every room, but it's still working. I've got the original power brick with it, the transformer. It's still plugged in. And I still use it from time to time, but for some reason, I just don't have the heart to get rid of it. I can't. I mean, I've got to keep it.
My kids upstairs are, like I said, my kids upstairs are playing on our day one X. I mean,
my daughter too. That's
I'm sorry, my day one regular console. Yeah, I mean, it's just I get it. I totally get it.
But I mean, the way I look at it, they're having iteration. They're at different price points. I don't look at these as I'm being forced to buy these. I don't have to go buy the Series X or the Pro because we're still going to be able to enjoy some good games for at least another year or so that are still going to be cross-gen, right?
Oh, it's going to be more than a year. Course, it's going to be more than a year.
Most likely, especially with things going now. But definitely, nobody's being forced. And especially nowadays, you got cross-play, you can play on PC, and you can play on mobile now, and you got Game Pass. There's so many different ways for you to enjoy these games.
I want to say hello real quick to Mamacita, my boo. She's in the house. I know. That's what Daenerys said. I literally gasped. She knows. I can't wait to have her back on this show.
Yes.
So.
Well, something that we were talking about the pretty much the PlayStation GDC event that we listened to. One thing that I did like that Mark Cerny said is something that I do like. He believes in the traditional console cycle, which that's something for me as a console gamer I like hearing.
Except they put out a Pro.
Right. Well, right. But he said that he believes in putting out a normal console, and like with this PS5, 3 or 4 years they're going to put out a Pro version. But if they stay with that two console, I have no problem with the refresh, because back with the Xbox 360, we had the little white Xbox 360, then we had the Xbox 360 Elite, so we did have some different iterations with that.
Yeah.
So I don't mind a base console coming out when it first launches, and then 3 or 4 later is a refresh. But I think that's where me personally, that's where I'm done with the iterations. I think 2 different models within a 6 or 7 year period, I think that's plenty. Now I still like my custom consoles. Like I'm sure Peter, you guys might have bought some like the Halo Xbox One console. There's some like limited edition consoles that come out, and we all buy those because they're special. But I mean, just separate iterations. I don't think you need more than one upgrade during a generation. I think any more than that's just a little much. But that's just me.
I think a lot of it has to do too, because you go back to Xbox One, PS4 when they came out, they were still a little bit behind with the whole 4K and all that TVs.
Right.
When they released, they just weren't ready for the 4K. So, and I think that's a big reason why we got the push for
OG
the next
not
iteration.
even ready for 1080p.
It wasn't right.
Yeah, right.
Annihilator, he said, are they going to bring out a Pro at the same time? Not according to Mark Cerny. From his speech, if you listen to him, he made a comment about the PS5, and then 3 to 4 years later about a Pro model.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to stick with that, and I'm happy with it. That's why all this arguing about the teraflops and the specs. These consoles, if I've got all the specs right here in front of me, and there are some things that the Xbox console clearly does better or has more compute units, and there's some things that the speed and stuff, there's some things that the PS5, but everybody's arguing out these specs. They don't realize that in 2, 3, 4 years, we're going to have a Pro model. We may have another iteration of an Xbox Series X-2 or something. So everybody that's arguing right now, these console numbers are temporary. We live in an age where they're going to have these upgrades, and so really it's pointless to argue about, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and it's also the sum of all parts, you know.
Right.
And I just take out one. It's like, say my car has 1,000 horsepower. Well, you know, your gear ratio is all off. So,
right.
You know, good luck. You know?
We all know that both
sucks.
these consoles are going to be wonderful. I'm excited about all of them. I'm going to spend so much money this year, it's crazy. But I'm getting the Series X. I'm getting the PS5. I have no hesitation with either one. I'm going to go out and get them. You know.
The only thing that makes me nervous about a PS5 is the whole thing about, you know, performance and then heat, and then they have to throttle back, et cetera, et cetera. That's, you know, to me, a little red flag. We have to see how this goes, and, you know.
I think it's all for early, too. Like, this is the first time that PlayStation's even mentioned anything about...
Oh, yeah.
I think in the coming months, we're going to get some more information.
They should have done that sooner, though. Because now, you know, it's like, all of a sudden, like, you know, they throw out some specs, and now this
I don't think they were ready,
and
Peter.
it's like, no, I know. And I'm wondering if they still, I mean, going back to my heat concern, is the design final?
Right.
Probably
Well,
not. Probably
it may
not,
not
because they haven't shown it. Because they haven't shown one.
Right, exactly.
They didn't show the console, so I think I'm right about that. Last time we talked about this, I don't think they've got a final design on that thing. I think they're still. I think that's why they weren't ready to talk about it. I think that's why the delay was there. They're trying to. They want to make sure the launch and they're just taking their sweet time with it, which is fine.
Oh yeah, I mean, we don't want to have another episode of what Microsoft have at the Red Rings.
Oh God, no! But
so
we all got through that, and so did Microsoft. And that's even with all that, the 360 was so successful. Even with the Red Ring of Death and all that,
Oh yeah.
they still got through it. And that's because of the fans and people. If your console burned up, you just went out and got another one.
Yeah. But I want to caution people that what Sony was giving. In all honesty, I joked about Dana Carvey and all that stuff, but what he was doing was what he would have done had GDC been an actual thing, and he was giving a tech speech to developers. Now, because GDC was canceled, it became a YouTube video. So I know what we were supposed to look. I know what we're. Microsoft has shown a console. Like we see it, and I'm going to show the rest of the things that I had downloaded. I'm going to show a couple videos on their quick resume and things. I'm going to show them right now while we're talking. They have tangibly shown a lot more, and to folks who are looking for Sony to come out and match Microsoft in here's what the PS5 looks like, here's some games running on it, and so on. You're right. I don't think they're ready for that yet, but this was also not technically the place for it. So
but he still promoted a little bit more for more than just the GDC audience.
I agree.
So it's like, hey, look.
Well, I think part of the problem too, we live in an age where because one company does something, we all think that all the other companies should follow suit automatically. Like even the backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
Microsoft's been ahead in the backwards compatibility department. They've been ahead in a lot of things. They not only had the Xbox One Slim, but they experimented with the Xbox One X. So then the Series X. So they were making some pretty big upgrades. So they were kind of gearing up for this console better than Sony was.
No doubt. They are more
so
prepared.
It doesn't really surprise me, but you can't really knock. That would be like saying, Nintendo, how come you haven't shown us your newest console? You can't put, just because one of these companies is going a certain direction or because they're further ahead, you can't expect that because some of these companies are going in slightly different avenues. It's not fair. It's not always the same. You can't compare them just the same.
But Sony, at least in this PS4 era, it was more very, if Microsoft said X, then say, hey, we have X+1. Or
the only reason these companies launch their consoles on the same day is because of competition. If you think back to 2013, Xbox One, like when they launched, I bet if they had to do it over again, they may have changed some things. But they're afraid of one console launching before the other, so they come out at the same time, whether they're ready or not. They get as best prepared as they can, which I think that a company should take its time and just release the console when they're ready. I know that they're all...
Yeah, but then don't do a half-ass job then. What they've done so
I
far,
agree, but that's what I'm talking.
It's kind of a botched job, and it's like, what happened? I thought,
you're going to get
PlayStation 4, they were more on point. They were aggressive. It's like we're the better console, Microsoft. And now it's like, the roles are reversed. Microsoft is extremely prepared, and Sony is like, yeah.
Well, there's a reason you're getting half-assed because Sony wasn't ready and they're trying to rush this. That's why, and that's what happens. Yeah, you're exactly right.
But there may be something else to this too, and I want to key off something both of you are kind of saying. Microsoft is, to an extent, not only are they more prepared, they feel like they've got the better box. Now, look, I've and I really want to go through this from both sides because we are Next Level Gaming and we do this objectively with passion, but we do this objectively and we look at both sides to see. Now, what I'm showing you right here, this is the one video that does excite me. GPU and CPU and all that bullshit. I'm happy with my X, but this right here, this where the Division 2 loads up in literally a quarter of, or is this State of Decay? Whichever is State of Decay. Loads up in a quarter of the time that the Xbox One. And this to me is game changing to me. I don't care about ray tracing. I know you guys could talk ray tracing.
But these games they were not redone to take advantage of fast SSD, direct accessing, yada yada yada. The same thing, kind of similar as what PlayStation is doing. So this is just raw SSD speed.
Yes, which is insane. So let me go through this a little bit because I do have the actual specs for both. I grabbed the specs on both machines. So for the Series X, this is what we've got going on here. So 8-core custom Zen 2, 12 teraflops, so they made a big deal about that. 52 compute units, which used to be a big thing when they were talking about the original consoles. Compute units was a big thing at the time. RDNA 2, all right, 16 gig of RAM, which that's pretty cool. 1 terabyte internal SSD.
See, why did they split up the memory stuff?
Where are you?
I know it's memory bandwidth. Sorry.
My guess is the 10 gigs is for if I remember. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me look. I think 10 gigs is for games and 6 gig is for the UI.
Right. Right. But why is it like different speeds? It's
because the UI doesn't need to be. And it's probably,
I know, but what if they say UI doesn't need 6? We're gonna give. We only use 4 and add 2 to the gaming side, and now even though
I'll tell you
through
why
APIs, etc., it might be transparent to developers. It's still like
I'll tell you why
it's a cost cutting.
It's cost cutting, but I also think the reason that they put 6 directly onto the UI and the OS is because number one, they're doing the quick resume, the multiple game quick resume, and 2. Everybody who has owned an Xbox One at some point has complained about the speed and the UI, and I think that this is a way to address that or try to address it, and still give games more than enough memory to run. That's my guess. And you're right, to cut costs, that they figure that the 6 gigs for the OS doesn't need the same memory bandwidth as the pipeline for the games. So, I get what you're saying. So, getting back, going down the rest of the list, expandable storage. So this is something really interesting that I
think Daenerys is right. It's not 6 just for the OS. It's the OS and all our apps, I believe.
Yeah, I'm literally looking on the Xbox news site, and I haven't seen anything, so I was just taking a guess. I'm not claiming that I'm right about that. I was just taking kind of a guess as to why they would split it up like that. The 1 terabyte expansion card. So this is kind of interesting because that gives you 2 terabytes on the of right off the bat expansion. And I'm wondering if what will be neat about that is you could take games, throw them onto the expansion card, or throw them from an external drive to an expansion card, and instead of having to lug your USB hard drive to a friend's house like we can do now with the Xbox One, you take this little expansion card, pop it in that person's console, and then boom, you've got games at the speed of light. That would be kind of neat.
What about, hear me out, what about if certain games come loaded on this one expandable storage card? And it's maybe read only, so it's just for that particular game, like a huge game. Could be, right?
But what happens
It's like
if
the
you
other
don't
day,
have?
like a cartridge.
But what happens if you don't have the card? Are some games going to require you to have a card?
No, the game is on this one terrible expansion card. I mean, it's like a cartridge, right?
Oh, oh. Well, it depends on how much this card costs. Because
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
True. But what you say, I mean, this is definitely, what you're saying. Like, you take it to a friend's house, you have multiple of those cards laying around, and maybe you can even like hot swap them.
Well, and it's something. I mean, I really like that about the USB drive. It's why I have one. Is that when I go to my buddy's house, I can just take the drive with him, and you don't have to install the games. You play them right off the drive. So it's a neat. Yeah, it's neat. I just wonder what the cost is going to be, because Seagate's making it, at least to start. But they haven't, they really haven't talked much about, cost or anything like that.
They're not going to be cheap.
I don't think they will. And then, of course, you can put a USB 3.2 drive, external drive, which you could also do SSD on those. And, of course, you'll be able to play your 4K Blu-rays. And performance target is 4K 60, which we have talked about the need for, up to 120. So, taking and there was a couple other things. So I know I said, and I go by this. I know I said I don't give care as much as other people about ray tracing, but they did show a couple of pictures of what ray tracing looks like on and off, and they were using Minecraft to do so. So, give me a second. I'm just
for the naysayers. It's not a good example because it's like, oh, it's Minecraft. Hey.
I know, but here's
definitely will.
Yep, and here's no ray tracing, and then here's with ray tracing. As soon as it loads in,
maybe.
Yeah,
that's a big difference.
It kind of is.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Yep. So
just wait till you start seeing on all the other games. I do think that the ray tracing plus the SSD speeds, loading, and all that is to me, those two are game changers as far as going into this next iteration.
Yes. Now there's some
for
other.
Me, that's the way I'm looking at it.
Now there are some other technical pieces that they tout, and how much of this is real and how much of it isn't, I don't know, but they also put out this where they talk about the latency issues that they want to tackle. Now it's hard to see the text, so I'll kind of read. On the far left, it says fast input scanning. Controller captures button presses as fast as 2 milliseconds. Sent via high bandwidth Xbox wireless protocol. Latency pipeline, which is the middle piece. Titles receive instant input via dynamic latency input, which is one of their new things, DLI. Redesign new input software stack with focus on latency. Fully decoupled frame buffering and latency. And then over to the TV, they are supporting the Xbox One Series X will support HDMI 2.1. So it's high frame rate with 120 frames per second support, instant synchronization with variable refresh rate, optimize your display with auto low latency mode. If your TV will support that, then there you go. The system will support it too. Again, how much does that affect me? I over the X, I can't say.
It's just a matter. I mean, it's going to be one of those things when it comes out. and you start seeing how some of these games look and play on it, that might move you. It all depends, you know. So
Yeah.
but there's no reason for people to rush to it either.
That's
still
that's
gonna play
true.
Cyberpunk. You can still play that on the X, and it's gonna look good.
Yeah. Hey, Dreadpool.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the quick resume video, by the way. Now this is something else that does interest me, because I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't use this. I don't use quick resume. I always turn my console off." I don't. My console is always in standby mode, and I do use quick resume. So one of the cool things that they are doing, and I think this is where some of that 6 gigs is coming in, is you can now quick resume to multiple games. So what they're showing here is, popping in and out of, I think they did 6 games in this demo, where it saves the suspended state of multiple games. I like that. I do like that. And one of the other things while we're watching this video that they are touting as part of their speed and overall is they have something now called the they call it the Xbox Velocity Architecture. So this is their new buzzword. So this is their blast processing. What they're doing is that they have the auto low latency mode, which I showed you the picture. Backward compatibility, which we are going to talk about a little more with PlayStation, because there is a big difference in backward compatibility. So what they are doing is every game on the Xbox One and Xbox One X that you can play will be playable on the Xbox One Series X, as well as every backward compatible game that came out for the 360 and the OG Xbox. And what they have promised is, built into the silicon, is even those games will have higher frame rates, faster load times, improved resolution, kind of like what they did with the 360 games and the OG games on the Xbox One X. Peter, do you remember when we popped in Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter?
Yes.
And we were like, I don't remember this game being 60 frames per second, because it wasn't. So, that's going to be every game. And what they were talking about with the backward compatibility with Series X going back is that regular Xbox One games, not the backward compatibility, although those will be better too, is all those games are going to be better looking and possibly even higher frame rate on the Series X. So you're getting not just the, what they say is the 4 generations of games, but they're all going to be enhanced, kind of like the way games, backward compatible games, were enhanced on the Xbox One X. And so this was something else too, and for those of you who do care about HDR, apparently, and I saw this when I watched the Digital Foundry video, backward compatible games are going to get hardware level HDR added to it. So even games that were back on the Xbox 360 before I think the example that they used on Digital Foundry was Fusion Frenzy, an OG Xbox game before anybody had even thought about HDR. Apparently had an HDR, kind of a mechanical HDR put over top of it, and it looked real. So that's impressive. Yeah, I got to give it to them for that. Here we go. With Xbox Series X, existing Xbox games, including recent titles within the ID and Xbox program that don't already have native HDR support, will get innovative HDR reconstruction to enhance those games with no work from developers and no impact to available CPU, GPU, or memory. You got to give them that. And then, of course, the smart delivery. So, as Chris and Dreadpool and everybody said, you don't have to come forward yet. So just like they do now with Xbox One and Xbox One X, the system's gonna tell the store what console you have, and it will download the correct version for you. So Halo Infinite, if I play it on my X, will download the X version. If I play it on a Series X, where they can pump up the all the sliders and make it look like PC Ultra mode, that's the version that'll get downloaded to the Series X. So that's
Don't they already do that with 4K assets and stuff?
They do. That's why I said. Yeah, that's why I was saying they do that now.
Right.
So this is just kind of an update to that. They did talk about spatial audio, full support for Dolby Atmos, DTS-X, and Windows Sonic. So just like the current software. And then so they this is the big stuff for the Xbox. I mean, look, I get it. This is really impressive. I mean, it's an impressive piece of tech.
Mm-hmm. I think like we were talking earlier, what they're showing, they're doing it. To me, they've done a real good job showing the hardware, they're showing the specs and how that translate into the games, and then give us a teaser of Hellblade 2. Like their marketing, they have some young people, some new people in marketing, and they're able to influence Phil, and Phil's listening to people. Like at first he wasn't gonna show the Series X at the Game Awards show, but this one young girl that works there, she works in marketing, she convinced him. And so I think there's some nice change in the marketing there in Xbox to help make Xbox look more attractive, be a little bit more competitive. Because, we were talking about Sony. Sony's marketing was on point. I mean, they, from going back to the middle of PS3, how they just, they started getting these games coming out and just going into the PS4. They were just on it.
And Dripple says it's Cindy Walker.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're doing a good job, and they know they need to. So going into the Series X, and they got a good stable of studios now. Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of pumping out some of these new games, and hopefully we'll get some pretty cool new IP. And hey, it's good. And then, but you look at Sony's marketing. They have this management change, so there seems like there's a little bit different attitude. To me, the management, the people running Sony right now, seems a little dry, right? You look at Cerny's deal. I know it was for GDC, but come on. I mean, I don't understand a lot of the stuff that they talk about in the spec, but I just couldn't. It was dry, very boring. But like I said earlier on Twitter, I'm impressed with the PS5. I think it's gonna be a great system to play on. But their messaging and their marketing right now just seems a little dry, and it could be the management, the way they're going about it. I don't know. I honestly, I would have loved to have seen the look of the new PS5. Mm-hmm. I'm more interested in that. Yeah. I am in.
I think that's coming.
I mean, yeah, I know, but
Frankie.
Oh, but it's coming. Obviously, it's coming. I mean,
but I don't agree with
all of a sudden like, hey, check out Holiday 2020, and it's like, oh yeah, it is Holiday 2020. You go to the store and like, ooh, there it is.
But I don't agree with all these people I've seen saying, well, Sony, they don't really need to show anything about the PS5. I mean, they got The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima coming out. Final Fantasy 7. They got these games. They can hold off. I'm like, yeah, they can. But those games are not going to stop people from, from playing on the PS4. Those games are going to sell well. They're going to play well. But I mean, come on, we've seen Xbox show all this stuff. Show the place PS5. Give us a little bit more excitement about it. I'm interested in it. I'm definitely gonna buy it, but I'm not excited for the PS5 because just the way they've presented it so far.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
it
it
is
looks
what it
bad,
is.
and then it's like a bunch of PlayStation
Sounded-
devs out or ex devs that kind of like defend the thing as like, oh, it's not about all the teraflops and
Yeah.
this and that. It's like it seems very petty. It's-
It does. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Sony
and we know
fumbled.
they're gonna be.
Hopefully they
Yeah.
pick up the ball
Yeah.
and now start running and showing some stuff and get the act together.
All right. Well, Frankie, where are you on what you've seen from the Xbox from them at this point? You've been kind of quiet.
Well, as of now, the only console I'm planning on buying outside of the Amico is the Series X, so that my sister-in-law can just keep the X. So that's the only one that I'm knowing for sure that I'm gonna buy. But the thing about it that has me the most excited probably is the new controller. Which
Yeah.
I don't even know if you
I've heard
threw up that
some
video yet,
talk about
but
I don't have is there a video of the controller? Because
I
I've
thought
been
they did. I thought they
Just
did some
like
kind of
a-
video breakdown
yeah,
of it.
Yeah, I'm
it's
trying
like a
to.
quick
I'm
where
trying
they
to
show you-
launch. For some reason,
But,
I'm having trouble launching pictures at the moment. But I downloaded a picture of the controller. There is a share button on it for you guys who want
Got,
to.
got
Yeah.
a share button. I love that. That feature was more useful to me than I ever thought it would be. Just
See, and this is what
Fun.
is disappointed about the Elite 2 is that it doesn't have a dedicated share button on it. Sure, you can map your pedals and you can do shift pedaling and get the same functionality, but it doesn't have a dedicated button. They should have done that.
And
My
also, yeah, well, they also, by the way, took the HDMI in out of the Xbox One Series X. Because nobody, because
That's not the
Have
worst,
you,
in my opinion.
Have you
The optical-
considered just not using anything on your system? Just play games on it, and then they won't take anything away.
Yeah,
That's-
don't actually use it for things. No, they've taken.
My biggest gripe is the optical audio. So many
Yeah.
things are tied to it. Expensive headsets like your Astro 50s. Now they have to retool something, and for you to be able to use it because it plugs into your optical audio
Are you
ports.
100%? Is that for sure? Because I thought I read somewhere that it was going to still be.
Not in the
part of it.
latest one. It seems like it got dropped.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to force me because I'm using optical out now because my audio receiver is not 4K, which is now
Correct,
going to force me to have to buy a new receiver.
Or you can do it through your TV. So your optical out from your TV goes into the receiver.
I don't have that on mine.
I don't know if I have it. I have to look.
Yeah, I looked
Okay.
at that. Yeah, I mean that's a problem.
So in my opinion, that's bad. I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
yeah,
a Lucid
I mean,
Sound
that's-
headset, same thing. My LS40s,
This
They need
this is
optical.
how. Whenever you come up with new TVs and new consoles and whatever, this is how they get you to buy the new accessories because
yeah.
they
May as well.
stop
Microsoft
this
may as
stuff.
well. Microsoft may as well start making receivers then. Why not just?
Surface receiver.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right. So this is the Xbox One Series X stuff. Let's move over to the PlayStation because I want to give them. I want to give them equal time, and we do want to look. Let's look at this from the angle of what they are doing. So now, unfortunately, look, I'm not bringing all these. I'm not showing the whole Cerny video. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of screenshots and things. In a way, I share your frustrations, guys, that there's not enough info on this. But what I do have are the specs. So it's same Zen 2 processor. I believe, and the clock speed is variable up to 3.5. So the CPU is not, and we're getting there, De Niro, with I'll talk about the backward compatibility in just a minute. 8 core, 16 threads. It's got an RDNA 2 based graphics engine, so it's not an RDNA 2 like the Series X is. It does have ray tracing, slightly less in the teraflop department, and it's up to, so it's variable up to. Same amount of system RAM, so 16 gigs, but lower memory bandwidth. Now, where they have excelled here is in the SSD. So their SSD, while it's only 825 gigs, has faster bandwidth than what's going to be in the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
So
raw, it's like twice as fast.
Yeah.
Well, we have to see if they're both using, if it's, who knows? If
right.
It's big data, if it's little, once you start doing random stuff, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Misleading of what it is.
Yeah. So what they say about that, and so this was something that they mentioned very much. They really have talked a lot about, and maybe this is why. Guys, look, they can't come out and pound their chest that, hey, we got the second best console on the market. They can't. So maybe there's a little bit of a reason why they're not crowing as loud as Microsoft is. When the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were coming out, Sony had the ability to come out and say, we got a 1080p console. Microsoft's, Call of Duty can't even run at, runs at 720p. They could get out and crow because their console was cheaper and more powerful. Now they can't do that, so they kind of have to do the Mark Cerny. Look, this is our happy little trees and our happy little geometry engine. They have to, but I also want to make sure people understand that this is still a leap above what you're getting now, and they have talked a lot about the SSD, and what they have said is, and what Mark Cerny said was that they took the SSD and they've customized the I/O system to take as much advantage of that raw bandwidth as they could, and so developers, and I'm going to read this right off the blog. What they were really shooting for were loading screens. Developers are able to stream assets into PS5 games at an incredibly fast rate, so PS5 play experiences can be seamless and dynamic with near instantaneous fast travel through large game worlds. Now, I will tell you that this, to me, just like on the Xbox Series X, this is game changing. Think about every time you have done a fast travel in a game and it's taken you 45 seconds to get there. Whereas now you do fast travel and in an instant you're there. That's great. Now, again, they're going to do ray tracing. So, that's going to match the thing. And to be honest, when we get up into 10 teraflops, 12 teraflops, aren't we getting to that plateau that how much of a difference is that really gonna make?
Well, also with the PlayStation, the 10.3, that's best case scenario. With the variable frequencies and all that stuff, it will be less.
Sure.
It'll probably be in the 9 something, whatever it is.
But where's the PS? So just for comparison's sake, all right.
But here's the thing: Microsoft had to be the, what Phil has said. We're going to be the most powerful console.
Yep.
If Microsoft was below 10.3, everybody would be on Twitter like, let's see.
Well, because they said
that will be a. Yeah, so I mean, it's like okay, now that it's done, okay, let's get over it and see what the sum of all parts can do, and let's see how the game's gonna run on these puppies.
I tell you what's really exciting me. I guess I've got kind of a different take on all this. I don't know. It's the specs on both these consoles. I've been reading one. The one thing that I like about the spec here on the audio on the Sony is the Tempest audio chip, which the 3D audio in the PlayStation 5 is going to be phenomenal. because the 3D audio, it's not just the sound from the front, left, right, and rear, it's sound above and below you.
Yes.
So that is a huge deal. That's not just the 3D audio is like one of the latest things. So that's not really talked about too much. And I like the speed of the console. But here's the reality of the thing. You've got two high-powered consoles that are clearly light years above the last iteration. So whether I'm playing on my Xbox One X or I'm playing on my PS5, all these numbers we're watching on the screen are going to, guess what? They're going to disappear. Because whether I'm playing Halo Infinite or whether I'm playing God of War 2, these numbers aren't going to matter of a hill of beans to me because I'm a gamer. I'm not going to be playing a game and thinking, oh, man, you know, I'm running at 9.7 teraflops right now. I'm a little low, you know. I need 0.5 more. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Hold on, wait.
Like,
I mean,
Scotty, can you get me another 5.5 teraflops?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know,
it's like
Captain.
you're playing it like Digital Foundry, like you have all the setups,
Right,
and you
you
can
got
see
all
the
the-
frames drop when
Right,
you're
I
playing
mean-
it. And this part, it's like, whatever.
So-
Stupid.
so-
Yeah, I
when
mean, yeah.
Okay, but
when I'm
hold
playing
on.
Forza or Gears of War, or I'm playing an Uncharted game or whatever I'm playing on, and the same thing with the Amico. I'm not going to be thinking, oh my God, you know, am I in boost mode? Am I not? Is
Did
it
you have it in
variable
this
speed?
this current gen? Like, you know, you run through the field and it's like, dang, I'm missing some blades of grass.
And
Dang.
like I
No.
said earlier, 3 years from now, I guarantee you, I'd bet money on it. We're going to see a refresh console. So, like right now, if you go on social media, people are going to be arguing. I know right now from
They're arguing
the
today.
Sony, they're going to be
never-ending
arguing
thing.
left and right
Yeah.
about it. But I'm not going to take part in that because I'm going to enjoy the games. And these two systems launching now doesn't tell the whole tale of the next generation. This is just the beginning ushering this in. So these are just their base models. And like I said, it's going to be interesting because if Xbox, I don't know if this is true, but there was rumor that they were going to come out with two different versions. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. They were going to have the Series X and possibly another model that's a lower end model.
Right, the Lockhart.
Yeah,
You're right.
I hope
So-
not.
I don't,
Not,
and
not this year. I
that
don't
doesn't
think.
really change anything for me because I'm going to get the Series X regardless.
Yeah.
But
I don't
you
think
know,
that's going to happen until next year. If they do
because
come out with a second SKU.
Phil said that they weren't going to be beat in power or price. I think the only way that he's going to win the price category is if they come out with the cheaper model.
Well, but is it
Because I have a
SSD
feeling-
for PlayStation is not gonna be cheap.
I have a feeling that the PlayStation 5, now I could be wrong, I have a feeling it's going to be slightly cheaper than the Xbox Series X. That's just my feeling.
I feel the
Unless
same way.
Xbox comes out.
There was something I forgot where they broke down the prices and stuff, and it's like PlayStation 5 was $450 and Xbox Series X was $470 or something like that.
Right. And
So I
it
mean,
may
it's
not
like
be-
the $20 Microsoft can say, "Hey, we eat that," and here's
Right,
Game
and it
Pass,
may be
subscribe.
negligible, but Phil came out and said we're not going to get beat on price or power.
Right.
So I give him the power thing if you're going by, I guess if you're going by teraflops. But see, I'm an electrician, and when you figure out power, which is watts, you take your current times your voltage.
What?
Yes, your power is your watts. It's
What?
it's your
Apologize.
current times your voltage. You've got
Yeah.
you got a product of two numbers. Your voltage can be high and your amperage can be low, or your amperage can be high and your voltage can be low, but you still get the same number. So what I'm saying with these consoles, you can't go specifically by teraflops. It's going to be an overall performance.
That's what I'm saying. Sum of all parts.
The sum of all parts. And we've played some pretty amazing games on Xbox and PlayStation so far. So when I'm playing on either console, whatever, these numbers, I'm telling you what, this is something to talk about and it's interesting. But in the reality of it, I don't care. If the PS5 is lower in a couple categories, do you think that's going to stop me from buying the console? The PlayStation has provided me with an awesome library of games, the MLB The Show, the Uncharted games, the God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn. Those games aren't going to stop.
No, of
and
course
just
not.
like on it, so for me, the games are the ultimate test. Now, maybe on social media, people are going to be arguing about these numbers forever, just like they did back in 2013. And for the record, I didn't even have I stuck with Xbox. Back in 2013, I fully supported them, and I didn't buy the Xbox One back in 2013 because of power. It was not the most powerful console, and it was priced $100 more. The Kinect was forced upon you, but I bought it because I liked the Xbox game. So for me, I'm in a similar situation now because if you want the Sony games, you're going to get a PlayStation. If you want the Xbox games, you're going to get the Xbox console. If you want them both, you're going to buy both. So these numbers mean absolutely nothing to me. If I pop in that game on day one and a big smile comes on my face and I see some better lighting, some better shading, if I see faster load speeds, I'm going to be real excited. And so this means nothing to me.
I'm not suggesting necessarily that that it would, but all I'm saying is that we have the whole purpose of these specs is to at least give people an idea of something. What is going to be, and they look.
I mean, the same thing. You get a car, you look under the hood, and it's like, oh, that's cool. It has
that's right. Yeah,
triple injection turbo prop doohickey schlunt poofa.
And then all you care about is that it's got Sirius XM radio in it.
Exactly. Doesn't pay my shoes. The answer is yes.
Here's the thing. If I went back to 2013 and when the focus was on always online and the TV of the Xbox, if I had turned my back on Xbox at that time and said, you know what, it's $100 more expensive, it's less powerful, I'm not getting it, I would have missed out on Rise, Son of Rome. I would have missed out on Sunset Overdrive. I would have missed out on my Forza Horizon games. And it's the same thing with Sony. If I looked at these specs and said, oh my God, it's 1.7 teraflops less, or if it's lower in some category, I'm just, damn Sony, damn them to hell, they screwed me over, I'm not getting the console. To me, that's lunacy. I mean, I know the quality of games Sony puts out, man, and I know the enjoyment I've got and the enjoyment I've had from both systems. So I'm not going to let these specs deter me from this. Is not going to affect me one way or the other. I'm still buying both consoles.
I don't know. I don't know why specs would deter anybody.
Well, some people it does, and you're going to notice. You know what I'm saying? Not us. But you're going to notice people on social media, Mike, and they're going to argue over this, and people are going to say, "Oh, that's the weaker console. I'm not going to buy it." You
need good individual components to have a great sum of all parts.
Right.
Yes, you do. And here
now the whole argument is.
So if you have one that's like extremely bad, then that the sum of all parts will be less than what it could be.
And look, people are talking. Look, they've also Mark Cerny has always been about audio. Like, everybody knows that. He's loved to talk about audio. And they do talk about the custom engine that they built for this Tempest 3D Audio Tech. But don't forget that the reason Microsoft doesn't really talk about a custom audio engine is because they are Dolby Atmos compatible. So they have that built in. And Atmos is exactly as you're talking about, John. It's overhead. It's around.
Right.
And the coolest thing about both of these, and even without games like Hellblade, and I'll be honest with you, every time I throw just my earbuds in on my PSVR, and that stuff's all around you, these guys have figured out audio, and I love it. And I've actually watched movies. I've actually watched a couple 4K movies on the X where I've just thrown my headphones on because that Dolby Atmos audio that comes through the headphones is something that you don't understand. To me, it's like wizardry. Like, how is something that's going directly into my ears ending up sounding like it's over here, and up here on headphones? And so audio is big for me and always has been.
Right.
Now I do want to. This is what the thing that I want to now bring up, because I caused, as I usually do from time to time, I caused a rankle on Twitter.
Shame on you.
I know.
You
Talking
did?
about the backward compatibility. Now,
Oh yeah.
and this had nothing to do with what you had tweeted, John, at all. This was some other people. I heard Mark Cerny say what I heard him say.
Right.
As far as backward compatibility goes, we took the top 100 PS4 games ranked by something called Playtime.
Right.
And we're testing those, and testing is going great.
Right.
And what he said was exactly, we're expecting almost all of them to be playable at launch on PS5.
Right.
Now, that they did say with more than 4,000 games published on PS4, we will continue the testing process and expand backward compatibility coverage over time. I am surprised at this. I honestly am, because what Mark Cerny said was, well, we put these games in the PS5 and they just ran too fast. That was his excuse, was they ran too fast. I've been saying for the past God knows how long that the whole purpose, that the whole reason that there's going to be all this native backward compatibility is because the architecture, while it's going up, is not changing substantially. It's still, if you look at the top of that CPU, what does it say? x86. It's still x86 hardware. So it boggles my mind that every PS4 game that I own would not automatically be playable on the PS5, and I can't register that. And if he's saying, go ahead. Well, hold on. If he's saying that, well, they run too fast, well, shit. On the PC, that's what you got DOSBox for. You make a wrapper that slows that thing down to. I'm having trouble knowing that and forget PS3, PS2, PS1. I wasn't expecting that to begin with.
Yeah.
And take away Xbox 360 and Xbox One, because those are select games.
Right.
I don't understand how they're leaving out the PS4 library and Microsoft's not leaving out the Xbox One library. Someone's going to have to explain this one to me.
Now, Mike, I heard the same thing you did, and I really, since I'm not Mark Cerny, I'm not Sony, so I don't know. All I can do is guess. We all know Xbox has been ahead in this backwards compatibility. They started this a long time ago. They started back, so they've been working on this. They've had time to iron out the kinks. Sony's focus has not been on backwards compatibility until recently, because fans were screaming for it. They would like to have it on this new console. They have not been working at it like Xbox has. So I knew that some form of backwards compatibility was coming out, and I was all excited because I thought, well, yeah, it's x86 architecture. I'll be able to play all my PlayStation 4 games, which I still think we will. From what I got, they've tested only 100 so far, because they're going through like Phil Spencer's doing, and they're playing even on the Xbox Series X. They're still testing games. They're not done with it. Now, I'm not saying that it's a good look for Sony, but backwards compatibility, you have to admit, was not their focus like Xbox. These two companies are kind of, even though they're both gaming companies, they're kind of moving in slightly different directions. So when I heard that they'd only tested 100 of them so far, I wasn't upset the least bit. I wasn't disappointed. I thought, hey, that's great. That's 100 games already. They're going to keep testing. Everything's fine. They didn't say they couldn't get the rest of the PS4 games to run. They didn't say they weren't going to do that. They didn't say it was impossible. They didn't say there was any problem. They just said, so my take on it is, here again, you can't always compare where Microsoft is going to be ahead in some categories. Sony's going to be ahead. So you can't, I don't know. I heard some PlayStation people, they were just throwing a fit. They're like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And
all right.
And I'm different. These are new consoles. And here's the thing. I like backwards compatibility, but you know this, Mike, because when I was on the show a long time ago, that's not, I like having it, but I'm not a big backwards compatibility guy. I'm looking forward to the games using the new technology and the new games going forward.
Right. But
I think we're jumping the gun. I think, look, Microsoft's just flat out, they're killing it with the backwards compatibility, and you have to tip your hat off.
Well,
but I don't think it's nothing to worry about just because there's only 100 games so far.
Well,
I think we're totally jumping the gun. I think it's making an issue out of something that's not even an issue.
Well,
that's that's my honest opinion.
And I hear you, but you know, I'm going to reel this back into where we are today versus where we were when Microsoft started backward compatibility. We're not talking about when Microsoft began talking about backward compatibility. The reason they were talking about getting backward compatibility done with the Xbox One was because you're coming from completely different architecture to the Xbox One. It was making an older console that had a totally different feature set and stuff. When they talked about coming forward with Xbox Series X, they started talking about leaving no console gamer behind. And if you're going to come up on your own terms, which PlayStation wanted to do as well, PlayStation wanted, wants people to continue to invest in the PS4, which is, of course, why Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and all these games are coming out even before the PS5 launches. And then when you're ready to buy a PS5, the idea was you could bring your library with you. That's what Microsoft's talking about. And so it's easier to do in this iteration, I thought, because I'm an IT guy. I know hardware. I thought that I play God of War and I could just play God of War on my PS5 because, well, it's the same architecture, and that's what they were doing. And the reason people are upset is if people, we've gotten to a point now, and this is the changing landscape that we talked about a couple weeks ago that I know is not the easiest thing to swallow, but in this era where even with your phones, all your stuff comes forward. With the Xbox One to Xbox One X, everything came forward, and now we're telling people, well, that game you like, Joe Toon might not. I was just hoping Frankie was awake. Those little indie games that I played, and who knows how many of the VR games are going to come forward. De Niro's asking and I have to think the answer is yes, but.
I still think my whole thing, Mike. I think it's early. I can't give you a reason why they're behind. Sony's been behind on backwards compatibility for long. I mean, I can't honestly. I don't know what's going on. I'm not an engineer. I just play the games. But I think it's a little early to be like, for all the people that are discouraged, thinking that they're not going to be able to play. I'm just saying we've got several months before these consoles launch. So before everybody gets upset and gets their tit in a ringer over this, I think you're going to see all these at least PS4 games be playable. I think they're just going through a testing process right now, and they're seeing how they run, and they want to validate title by title as they go along. And that probably takes a long time, especially with getting the console ready. And look, I don't even think they've got the design of this console down yet. So all I'm saying is, sometimes people need to temper their just relax, because I think everything's going to be okay.
And I don't disagree, but in this, what we do is we hold people to what their words are, and what Sony said was that 100 games that they were testing, they're expecting almost all of them. So we're not even sure that they're going to get all 100 of those games running at launch. And so that, I think, is again, when you've got your competition that has somehow come up with a way to run every single Xbox One game. I'm not, again, I want to take 360 and OG, and I want to push it aside for a minute because those don't, in that sense, to me, those don't matter in what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is bringing up the previous gen that was the same, and you've got Microsoft that is literally saying, and they're not talking about testing and all that stuff. They're saying, all your PS4 games are going to run. Oh, and by the way, not only are they going to run better, but they're going to look better. And Gears 5 in 2 weeks,
Phil's testing him right now. Phil's testing him. He most certainly is.
But
so they are testing.
But he is, what they've got is, I think they have a mechanism in which all has to do is the game has to plug into the code and be done without any real work. Although I am curious how the Coalition in 2 weeks got Gears to look like what Digital Foundry showed. And I think the biggest improvement, like I could care less about a little more meshing on the gloves and all that stuff, but to kick those cutscenes up to 60 frames per second in 2 weeks' time,
that's just pure raw. Once again, it's pure raw.
Well, I think people, what I worry about is the messaging. They didn't say they can't get the games running. They didn't say all the games weren't going to be running. See, this can so easily be twisted to make it look bad. They said that we've tested this many games. We're going to have these ready by launch. Nothing's been said. Like nobody's come out and said, hey, we ran into a snag. Sorry, folks, but we can't. Nobody said that. So all I'm saying is before everybody jumps to conclusions this early, and I know it's getting closer to launch, and it may take a while. I'm just saying I predict that in the end, you're going to be able to play all your PS4 games for the most part. I'd say 99% of them. I don't think there's going to be any trouble whatsoever.
See,
but once again, I think it's, why do you and others have to defend Sony for their fumble?
I know.
Right now they fumble. They fumble.
I'm not defending. I would defend Microsoft in the same. I would defend
strong words, but it's like, okay, speak up about it or whatever you want to call it. It's like,
if the situation was reversed, Peter, I'd be defending Xbox or speaking up for them as well, because if the situation was reversed and Xbox, I'd be, now hang on, people, they'll get this thing running, and to be honest, Phil is testing these games, so they are testing them. So until he's tested them or whatever setup they've got, they might run into a snag with a game here or there that maybe that's unforeseen for some weird reason or something. I'm not a programmer. I'm just saying that I don't think it's responsible to say, oh, they're not going to be able to bring all the PS4 games because it's too early, and that's just not the case. We don't have enough information to say that. It's not responsible to promote that.
But we have Mark Cerny's voice.
Right.
I'm not paraphrasing.
No. But he did not say that they are not going to be able to bring them all, is what I'm saying.
What he said was, no, I know that. He said they're going to continue testing the process and expand coverage over time. But the difference, I guess the difference here that I'm kind of going on is, every game that's currently on the Xbox One, and again, I want to take the 360 and the OG and take this out of the equation. Every game that's on the Xbox One is playable on the Xbox One Series X. Right. Not every game playable on the PS4 is going to be playable on the PS5, and and even the list that they've started with isn't. They don't know that all of them will be playable at launch. So I don't view, and maybe because again I'm looking at it from an IT standpoint, I hadn't viewed this as, everybody keeps saying backward compatibility. I haven't viewed it as such because, the stuff that I have on my Android, my Samsung Galaxy Note 9, all ran on my Note 7. I mean, all of it did. There was no,
Or even
well,
like
this, you know,
PCs.
yeah.
You upgrade your PC, you can still play the same games that you were playing before, especially if you have a big library on Steam. And this is where I'm getting at, because Annihilator, he's a big PlayStation guy. He's heavily invested in PlayStation, right? So he has all these games that he has on PS4 that he's invested. That he plays a lot of games. He's beaten a lot of games, but there may be some there he hasn't. So he's looking at it like, and the way I look at it too, I would be disappointed if Xbox said the same thing that Mark Cerny said. I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, I can't.
Right.
There's a lot of games I have not played. I don't play a lot of games lately. I work a lot. I want to be able to take the games that I invested in that are in my library, and I want to be able to say, okay, I'm gonna get a Series X. I'm gonna plug it in. Boom, I can play and be right there exactly where I was on the Xbox One X or the Xbox One S. And the PlayStation 4, I'm not heavily invested in it, but I've always said that if I could, there's still a lot of games that I want to play that I haven't played on the PS4. But
See,
if I
I'm
can
like
play these games
Annihilator.
on the PS5, then I will feel I'll be okay. I'll be like, cool, I can play these games on the PS5 when I get a chance. But it's to not be able to bring your library of a lot of games that you spent a lot of money on, and you're telling me that I can't play these games on the PS5, I would be a little worried. Now, granted, like you said, they're working on trying to get the top 100 games, however they decide, the most played, whatever. But what if the game that you love, you invested time in, and you're not done playing it?
Well, I've got a perfect answer for
on
that,
the
actually.
John's got a
I've got a
console
perfect-
for you.
I've got a
Hold on.
perfect
Let me
answer.
get my
Answer
Don
the question.
Matrick.
What's
Let me
the
get my Don
I've got a-
Matrick out.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
This is Don Matrick.
No,
Come on,
I've
Tom.
got this. Well, not
Go
all
ahead.
Don Matrick
Go ahead.
fans.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing. It would be a shame to turn your back. Let me put it this way. If, let's say at the launch of the PS5, let's say there's 500, I'm just throwing some generic numbers out. Let's say there's 400 or 500 games that are backwards compatible that I can play. And let's say that there was 500 titles I couldn't. It would be a shame to just turn your back on it and not get the console when 3 or 4 months later they may have the full library. What I'm saying is, since this is their first foray into the backwards compatibility, maybe they're a little slower. It's going to take them some time. See, Xbox has already dipped their feet in magic waters. They've already tested this a little bit. They went from 360 to Xbox One, and they've had a little more time invested in this. So they're a little more on pace. Sony, this was not Sony's big deal. Backwards compatibility was not something that they were focused on bringing out AAA single player gaming experiences. This was not. So
I get you on that, but I feel like that.
But hear me out.
not a
The other
good
thing
excuse,
is,
though.
when the new consoles come out, I just speak it for me. I
get it.
I fully expect all the games will be playable. When the new consoles come out, I'm going to be worried about the new games. Now, when I go back, and if I can't play a backwards compatible game right away, guess what? I got 2 PS4 consoles. I got a PS4. I got a PS4 Pro. I'm not missing out on a single thing. The games are going to look great and play great. When that library gets filled up, just like they did when Xbox started it, everything's going to be fine. All I'm saying is that I don't think that it's anything for people that gamers today, whether you're Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, we're so demanding. And I know these companies
With all due
promise us
respect, for
things.
$500 a clip,
Right.
you said sort of a similar thing when we were having our discussion about streaming versus not. I mean, I kind of feel that way going into this. If I'm paying another $500, then I kind of expect a little bit of this, especially like with the Xbox. You're taking away another feature that I used on the X, in the HDMI in, which for me was something that, believe it or not, I had my Dreamcast and I had my Xbox plugged into that because it rendered the picture great. That's actually when I was streaming when I was streaming Breakdown on the Xbox, I was running that. I was running that through my Xbox 360, or I was running that through my Xbox One. So I legitimately used that feature that they're taking away. So if they're going to do that, then you better sell me on something that I really do want. And that's where that comes from.
See, I'm one of those persons, Mike, like I like to, I'm not going to get all worked up about something where we're like 8 months away. Mark Cerny was very honest when he came out and he talked about it. He wasn't trying to hide it. He clearly gave us numbers on the ones they've tested and the one they're worked on. I'm not going to fret over something that's 8 months away when I know they'll get there. Like, I just, it's one of those things where we've got enough going on.
I was going to say, they're not going to get there.
Things, well,
they're not, if they're only testing the top 100 games by playtime.
For right now, they've already tested 100 games.
Right, and they think that almost all of them. Right. So that's and again, I want to go back to the
ones
wording.
They've tested. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be any more by the time the console launches that they haven't tested.
I think that they say, and we're expecting.
It's not just. It's not capped at 100. Out of the 100 they've tested, almost all of them will be ready for launch. He doesn't say they're not going to test another 100, 200, 300, 400. He's saying out of the 100 they've tested, most all of those will be ready for launch. It doesn't say only those 100 are going to be ready for launch. There's a huge difference in verbiage there.
You're right, but I have there's not a chance that
I think we're reading into it wrong, is what I'm saying. And I'm not defending Sony. Would it have been more impressive if they came out and said, "Hey guys, we got all the games running. Heck, we've even got PS2 games." Oh yeah, woohoo! I mean, yes, that would have been. But that's not a selling point.
But that's a selling.
You're
point.
right. You're right. But if you're a fan like I am of a console, whether it's Xbox or PlayStation, it's not going to stop me from not getting the console because I'm not buying these consoles just for backwards compatibility. There's so much more. If you look at the Nintendo Switch,
which I don't have,
no backwards compatibility at all, yet it's sold between 50 and 60 million consoles, and they've done excellent without it for the most part, and they've actually resold you
it's one of the reasons why BC is important. Is just for game conservation.
Frankie, you're not even looking.
But here's what I'm saying is there are always two ways to look at things. And I go back to what Cerny said. I think he said out of the 100 games we've tested, almost all of them will be ready at launch. Right. Now, stop there. He didn't say those are the only 100 games that are going to be tested before launch. Though out of the 100 they've already tested, almost all of them are ready to go. So they're going to be testing more in the coming months. And there's going to be more and more games that are going to be ready. I think people totally took what he said and misunderstood it without thinking about it. I think people grabbed it and they go, "Oh my God, they're only going to have 100 games maybe ready at launch. We got to talk about this." But
that's why you got to be careful of your messaging because Xbox got hit a lot about their messaging on certain words.
But I mean, I understand it. It's pretty simple. He said out of the 100 games,
hang on, John.
No, you're right, but how you take it, you're taking it one way, but other people can perceive it another way.
That's true.
So when you say almost is kind of like, that's not a very confident word when you say almost. If I tell my boss, I'm almost done, are you done or you're not? Almost.
Well, here's the thing.
So that, you know what I mean? That you got to be careful how
where I work, you can't lie either. If my boss comes up to me and he says, "John, do you have that machine running?" I have to say, "I'm almost, not quite. It's better to be honest than to lie about it."
Dude, I absolutely. And nobody is saying that he's lying. What we're saying is that... Right. What we're saying is if we're taking
where's Frankie? I'm always by myself. Wake up, damn it.
I don't know.
Strangle you guys. Jesus Christ.
Well, why don't you say something then?
John,
I'm all alone, man. I'm always all alone.
No, but John, I understand where you come from because you've already played a lot of these games that have been on PS4. So it makes sense for you. So you're already looking forward. But for people like me, I don't have a lot of library.
I still want to bring my games. I still have games that I won't have played. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think people misunderstood what Cerny said. people are taking it as if there's only 100 games going to be ready, some of those 100 for launch, and that's not what he said.
That's exactly what he said.
No, he said
everybody just shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
You
All right,
shut
Frank,
up.
hold on.
I'm
Frankie
on the show so we can talk about
Frankie
this.
is going to Frankie is going to talk.
Just shut the hell up. On the PlayStation blog. This is right from the PlayStation blog, okay? We recently took a look at the top 100 PS4 titles as ranked by playtime, and we're expecting almost all of them to be playable at launch. With more than 4,000 games published, we will continue the testing process and expand backwards compatibility coverage.
There you go. It's right there. Just what I said.
Wait.
Just what I said.
Hold on. Let him finish. Let him finish.
At launch, maybe 100 will be available. Maybe. At launch.
Wait, what the hell is this thing doing? Hold on.
I'm going to strangle you guys. I do.
Yeah, so I mean, it all depends.
I'm bringing up the... I'm trying to bring up... Yeah.
Here, let me just jump in because you guys are driving me nuts. Microsoft...
That's what we're here for. Sir.
Microsoft is a software company. Yes? We can agree on that? So
it's a hardware company too.
Their approach to backwards compatibility, they're going to have more of a software approach to it. They have a solution for, okay, what do we have to do on our end to get these games working on the system so that the developers don't have to go in and do all this work to make their game work on our new console. Microsoft is doing that footwork for them because that's what they do.
Shit.
Sony, on the other hand, I don't look at them as a tech company, like a software company. So I'm not expecting them to all of a sudden be like, all right, well, we'll just do this back. And I look at like boost mode on the PS4. You turn that on, and there's games that you play on there that actually suffer because you're using it. So from that point, like I kind of see what they're talking about because we've firsthand seen it on the system. When you unlock the power that the thing can actually add to a game, some games it fucks them up even more. So I understand the point where they want to go through and make sure all this stuff works. And I mean, like, Microsoft was doing with 360 games when they started going back and rolling all that stuff out. It was it was per game, like we're going through and making sure all this shit works. Sony hasn't had to do that. So this is like all new territory for them back like when it was for Xbox. So we're getting to a point where, like John said, at some point, sure, I think a majority of the PlayStation 4 catalog is going to be playable on the PS5. All of them, I don't think so. I think there's definitely games that are going to get left behind. And again, this is a generation that we saw a lot of games like Battleborn, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. You got all these online games that are already going to be dead and gone by the time this thing comes out. So I don't know. To me, the whole backwards compatibility thing, like, there's a case to be made for it, but like like John was saying, or Mike was saying, one of you said, I don't know, you all fucking drive me nuts, but
that's what happens when you just wake up.
Well, yeah. So anyways, if I'm thinking like the top 100 based on hours played, you're thinking obviously Spider-Man, God of War, Uncharted. There's going to be a ton of games in there that we've probably already played.
Auto.
Oh god, yeah, Grand Theft Auto, Fortnite.
Yeah,
crap.
That's the immortal game.
Fortnite, yep. So all that shit, is probably what they're going to be testing. So like for me, like I'm looking like, okay, are they Bloodborne better be in there because I still haven't played that, and that's a game that thousands of people have been out there saying like, dude, this game would be so great if it actually ran at 60 frames and all this other great stuff, So that's one that has to be on there in my opinion. And if it is, I'll finally play the damn game. But like Chris was saying, like I'm looking at my backlog and I'm like, all right, well, I still have to play Resident Evil 2. Is that going to work? I just bought Resident Evil 3 back in April. Is that going to work? What about Doom Eternal? Like I understand like getting back to like, looking at top 100 played, but what are they going to be doing with stuff that just came out? Like if I bought Ghost of Tsushima, am I going to be able to play that on the PS5 if I had, bought it and hadn't gotten to it yet? Like,
well, yeah, and certain people can only afford the next console by trading in their current stuff.
Well, that's
exactly.
So that's where I'm at, and I'll tell you, I'm gonna have a problem because right now the Xbox One X is only $199. So what the hell? I'm gonna get like $25 for my X when the
GameStop doesn't care about you. They'll give you
Apparently,
maybe
according
you
to
could sell it to a
Fastback,
friend,
they don't care about
Mike,
they don't care about their employees either. Apparently.
Oh God, I've been telling you that for years. They don't care about their employees one bit.
You'd be better off selling it to, if you were going to do that, Mike, selling it to someone at work or a family you knew or something and getting a little more out of it than taking it to GameStop.
No, screw that. You go to Taco Bell and you trade it to them for like $100 gift card for Taco Bell. Just think about it. Just think about it.
There's not enough TP to be able to take $100.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what? I got the iron stomach, man. I could definitely do.
Oh,
See? Get it.
Yeah.
Get it.
No.
But I have to agree a lot with Frankie because it's just the inexperience of Sony in the backwards compatibility department. I'm not. I guess what I'm saying, I'm not surprised by this. Some of these people are like losing their crap over it. It's like I'm not surprised. Microsoft is just ahead of the curve on some of this stuff.
But I'm not looking at it as back compat. I'm looking at it as bringing my investment forward.
Right.
I don't look at it like that.
Right.
Like Frankie was saying, you're just buying some of these games this year.
Right.
And if you buy a PS5, are you going to be able to play them?
Right.
Right. And I agree with that.
Time will tell. Time will tell. And
I think it's early. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, time will tell. But by going off of this message from Sony right now, that's all we can go by as, wait, what do you mean? Like, I want to hear, like Annihilator now. He wants to hear that he can bring his library to the PS5 and just keep playing. And he is still going to buy the new games for the PS5. That's all that some people are worried about. Yeah. Now, but you're right. But some people are getting blown up and being stupid.
I just think that sometimes we tend to jump the gun on somebody comes out. I mean, it's happened to Xbox too. Phil Spencer comes out. He says something and somebody twists his words. And then before you know it, everybody's worried. And then everything's okay in the end. All I'm saying is I think sometimes we just need to kind of just wait and see. I'm sure we're going to learn more as it gets closer to launch date. I don't like to jump on things right away that I hear because I've been wrong so many times in the past when I've done that before waiting to see what's actually really good. Now, if it comes closer to launch and, and they're coming out and say, hey, look, we can only get 50 titles to run. Okay, I understand people being pissed about that. I would fully, I can see that, but we're not anywhere near that. So I'm going to err on the side of caution and just be a little more patient,
The other thing with that is, like how God, where was I going? My brain's like fucking melted now. So like when they're talking about when the systems are launching, right? So the Xbox Series X, Halo Infinite, I assume Hellblade 2, like all these games are going to be playable on the Xbox One as well, right?
Correct.
Right.
So if Sony's going to continue like the more traditional console cycle, I assume when they start putting out PlayStation 5 games that they're not putting out PS4 versions. Like they're going to just be PlayStation 5 first party exclusives or whatever. So they're going to like have you buying a new console because there's new games that are only on that. Whereas Microsoft is trying to keep the people like Chris, who are invested in all these games, like, okay, well, I bought this on my Xbox One. I don't see a reason to get a Series X just yet because I just bought an X. They could still play the game, which, in my opinion, honestly, is great because if you, like myself, bought an X and, don't feel like you've gotten your money's worth out of it yet, you probably will soon.
Well, here's a classic case too, Frankie. All of us, we've all talked about all the different systems we've had. All of us have played on Nintendos, Segas. I mean, up until the Xbox One, really, this backwards compatibility thing, like all the years I was growing up, it wasn't there. The Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, the Sega stuff. I mean, each year, and I survived. Each year I bought the new console. I bought its sets of game. And I'm not taking anything away from backwards compatibility. I'm just saying us as gamers survived without it. For a majority of the time that gaming's been around, we haven't had it. So right. It is a great thing to have. I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying for the majority of our gaming, we didn't have it and we got along fine. We bought, when the new console came out, you adopted to that. And when you went from your Nintendo to your Super Nintendo, you kept your Nintendo or whatever, sold it, whatever, you got your Super Nintendo and you started buying those games. And we did this for years, generation after generation. So, and we made it, and everybody was happy. There was none of this talk about what's backwards compatible, what's not. People weren't arguing about it, and that's kind of a gaming period in my life that I love the most. So as much as it's a neat option to have, even now, I agree with Chris. I want to take my library too. Now, do I need to have it? No, because I have no intention of trading in my PS4, PS4 Pro. So I've got 2 other consoles that play all those PS4 games. I'm not hurting. Now, I'm just speaking for me. I'll get the PS5, but it's not going to affect me one way or the other. Whether they have 20 games or 1,000 games, life goes on, and I'm going to be okay. It does not affect me.
The other thing I figure that's also worth mentioning is, all of us, I assume, have a console that we love. Mike, you Dreamcast, obviously. If you want to play those games, you're still going to hook up that system. Even if there's ports, like you could play House of the Dead on the Wii. Where are you playing that game? On the Dreamcast, because it's awesome. So, exactly. I mean, I get where you're coming from, because I'm the same way. Like, I kept the PS3 around because there's still a bunch of stuff I want to play on there that's not going to get remastered, theoretically. Thankfully, most of the 360 games that I wanted to play are backwards compatible, so I could comfortably get rid of my 360. But, I mean, if there's really games lingering on old systems, like John said, you probably still have that console.
I mean, when I play Hydro Thunder on my Sega Dreamcast, or I play Ready to Rumble 1 or 2, it's not the same as playing those games on my PC or playing on the version that the Xbox has or playing on the version. It's not the. I'm sorry, it's not the same thing, man. I like it. I like popping it in their respective consoles. Yeah, I like playing it. That's what my memories, that everything that I played on, that's where it came from. Granted, I think it's cool that you have these different versions, but it's just, you'll notice even when some of these games really weren't made for like analog controls. Like when you put in Castlevania and you play on Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah.
With the analog sticks, the game is not as intuitive as the regular D-pad, and the analog's just not as good.
I agree with that, but that's why I use the D-pad. But I have to vehemently disagree about a couple of the games. Like the Streets of Rage series on Xbox it has online multiplayer. I mean, not only is it true exact to the Genesis version down to the soundtrack and everything, but it's online multiplayer. Toe Jam and Earl is exactly like I remember it on the Genesis, and me and a guy that I'm friends with on Twitter played it online. I mean, I can't go with that one. And again, the reason I didn't get the Genesis Mini, which betrays every bit of Sega in my being, is because I didn't like the games. I didn't like all the games they came with. I felt like a lot of the games were filler. A lot of the games were, bleh. But it was, I know De Niro, it was Dan, but they don't know who Dan is. But, in the same way, there also comes a point to where I only have so many HDMI inputs too. So, I can't necessarily keep an Xbox One, an Xbox Series X, and a, Xbox quadruple, twisty.
See, I got a real nice Rocket Fish switch, HDMI switch. So like on my television, I've got 4 HDMI ports already. I plug that puppy in and I've got another 4 or 5. So, I mean, there are ways around that, and they work perfectly. And you can plug that in. You can have all kinds of consoles plugged into one TV.
But I don't want a way around it, and that's my problem. It's like, I also have to think about power. I also have to think about, like I said with the Xbox Series X, if they really took out the optical port, I have to replace my receiver. That is not that's not acceptable.
But it's not going to stop you from buying it's not enough though to stop you from buying the console though, is it? That's what I'm getting at. It's it's disappointing, but it shouldn't keep you from buying the console.
It actually, that particular thing would be a deal breaker because
what? Really?
Yes.
Oh,
well,
wow.
So
you may not buy it at launch though.
So you may
I don't know about that. It's a lot easier to buy some new audio equipment than give up on the console.
Bullshit. If I have to spend $500, I have to spend $500 or $600 on the console, and you're going to make me spend another $200 on an audio receiver just because
we're all going to get it.
No, hold on, no, just because.
Just use the headset that's bundled.
So now I have to use a headset. I'm pigeonholed. You keep taking my choices away. You know, I can't plug another thing into it.
If we lived in a perfect world, they give us everything and everything would just work out right. Just there would be no issues and all the headsets would work and we could play Atari 2600 games on the Series X and, we could use headsets 20 years ago.
In a perfect world, I don't have to buy the console if I'm going to have to also. So I'll tell you what, I'll buy the console if you'll buy me the receiver.
So hang on a second. So Chris, the PS3 at launch, there were certain models that were backwards compatible, but it wasn't all of them.
Yeah. Not all of them? Okay.
Not all of them. There was, I know for a fact, the Metal Gear Solid 4 bundle, that one had a backwards compatible, and I think there was a 60 gig. But,
yeah, I think my brother had bought the one that was BC.
Yeah, it wasn't all of them, which is weird.
That's weird, yeah.
Well, here's what happened. So the original, the first run.
On,
what? Are you still?
Stupid?
He's gaming.
Like,
we gotta have something. We gotta have somebody here gaming. While we're talking about gaming.
All right. So the original model PS3 was backward compatible. The original 60 gig and the original 20 gig models were backward compatible.
Yeah.
When they brought out the 80 gig, they tried emulation through software, but that didn't really work well. So they just after that 80 gig model came out, they just scrapped it. So if you had an original fat model, you had it. So the PS3 60 gig and the 20 gig were compatible with PS2 games. The 80 gig was not. And
except
the PS3
for the Metal Gear one.
Except for the Metal Gear game. And then the PS3 Slim was done. So yeah, it was a weird thing, and they did it to cut costs because they actually had the original
$700 console.
Yes,
so
because it had Z-Black. They had because it actually had the PS2 chipset in it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes,
but
I
know one thing. If it doesn't have the optical out,
okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna set up a GoFundMe for me, and you guys to join our official Patreon, and I will get a receiver, and I'll get an Xbox Series X.
I'm going to get a Series X whether it has the optical or in it or not. Then I'll show you pictures of it, and I'm going to be happy. So I don't care.
Hey. I'll be playing that same game on my Xbox One X.
That's upsetting. I understand what you're saying, Mike. I'm sure they'll find a workaround or something for that, but that's not going to keep me from buying the console. Well, it's such a small thing. It's in my book.
To have to buy a new receiver just
wow. We do stuff like that all the time.
I want your job. So
well, I know, but I spend
we do that all the time. I've had the same receiver for like a decade now.
Yeah, I mean it's in this technology world we live in. It's one of those things where we talked about this. I'm not using my VH cassette players, even though I still have my VHS players. I don't watch them anymore.
Yeah,
so you got to buy the next thing to play the software. So you got to go out and you got to buy the hardware.
Hey Peter, remember when we were having this argument about streaming and where you might have to stream to play your games?
Let's forget about streaming. I'm still dead set on that. I don't care about streaming.
Okay. If you're dead set,
I don't care one thing about streaming at all. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm done.
Dead set.
I don't want streaming.
You're dead set. Hold on. You're dead set on turning your back on gaming if it all goes streaming. But you're telling me I have to buy a receiver to get an Xbox X, and I have, and that's a problem.
I know how you are. You're kind of cheesy.
Why don't you just
my
stream
God.
it? Just
Yeah.
stream your audio
Oh
to your
my
headset.
God.
Mike
Boy,
just too.
hold
He's
on.
like Ebenezer Scrooge.
Let me put my
nobody has
hypocrisy.
so many shillings to
Hold on.
spend.
Let me get
Oh,
my
get out of here.
Let me get
You-
my hypocrisy jacket out, and let me
Yeah.
put that bad boy. Peter, are you hearing this?
Yeah.
Peter,
Yeah.
help me,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
singing.
hearing it. It's like,
Hold on.
So Mike, you don't have the SPDIF in your TV? You don't have the optical deal on your TV?
Not that passes through.
Oh,
So
see,
if
that's what happens
if
when
I
you buy
do
that
it-
Walmart.
I know. I get that Walmart TV. You know.
Mike, how much is this receiver you would need? How much would it cost?
Oh, let's see.
No.
I'm just trying because I know you like to pinch pennies. I'm just
$1
seeing how much it would cost you here.
Let's see.
I'm figuring out a plan for you.
Just divert your Switch budget.
But the
Oh, my
lowest
Switch
payment
budget.
plan.
Yeah, my
just
Switch
cancel
budget.
Amico.
That's right. See, the Amico. So
There we go. Cancel
there you
your
go.
Amico.
About $249 on
How
Amazon.
much did you pay for the? How much are you going to pay for the Amico console? That you didn't have to have.
That I bet.
You found the money for that, didn't you?
You're damn right. You're damn right. I did because
Yeah, you're damn right.
don't have to work because
You're
I don't have
damn
to
right, light your
because I can
speaker.
run. I
No
can
help.
run that through because I'm running that through my receiver because that's not
Oh,
4K.
yeah. You got the money for that. You got the money for a receiver.
Boy, this
You
must
know
be
you
nice.
do. Know
Boy,
you.
I'll tell
Yes,
you
you
what, man. Money bags techno.
No, it's just all about money management. You wanted the Amico, so you went out and you got it. You went.
Yes. The Amico.
sucked in and got
yes. The Amico was 200 and some odd bucks.
Wait, do that again.
Yeah, I know. That was like.
Man, that is accurate.
So
That's-
what we're saying is that the Xbox One Series X really isn't $600. It's $850, and I should be okay with that.
Anyway. You're going to get some controllers. You're going to buy some games. Am I wrong?
So
You're
it's
not going to walk
Yeah,
out there with
extra
Hold on.
the $500
So
console.
So it's
He doesn't
$850.
need to buy new
Hold on,
controllers.
$850 plus new game.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
But if you save now, if you put $20
Wait,
a week back, you'll have your
hold on.
receiver.
Hold on.
Boy, I need to
though.
introduce you to my
hold on,
wife. 'cause
hold on.
She's
hold on.
gonna laugh
You have-
hard.
You have
Let's
Game
get out the big
Pass.
calculator.
You have
Get out
Game
the calculator.
Pass. So all the
Yes.
new first party games you're getting for free
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah. Tell
This
him,
is
Frankie.
true. This is true.
Right.
All right. So
And you can if you had a Elite 2 controller, you can play it on a Series X too.
oh, so
You
another
want to-
another
All right,
$199.
All right, look. So what I'm hearing is that it's probably 3 or 4 launch games that you're not going to have to buy because they're
Uh-huh.
going to be in Game Pass
Uh-huh.
that you
Yep.
already paid for.
Oh, don't
Uh-huh.
let
So
Mike fool you. He's
so-
going to
so-
do some shady trade-in deals, and he'll get the Series X for like $30 somehow. He'll do
Yeah,
some
I'm gonna
kind of
get- I'm
shifting
gonna
of
get
funds
Nate.
around.
You know
I'm gonna
what'll
get
happen
Nate
is
to
his
teach
wife
me.
is gonna
I'm gonna
find
get
some
Nate to
gift
teach me.
cards.
That's what I'm gonna say,
stashed
get
away in
Nate.
the closet. Oh yeah, get Nate.
I want to hear this. I want to hear how my having to purchase a brand new receiver to go along with my $500 to $600 X is disappointing, but I'm going to turn my back on the whole industry if I can't get a console isn't disappointing. I'm trying to figure out where that I like that Evel Knievel game where he crashed and burned into the fire because I want to see this is what I'm doing here. I want to see where these two lines just go like this.
That's right. De Niro's right. Go out there, give some plasma, give some blood. Give
Yeah,
somebody,
you only need one kidney.
Right, you
Yeah,
only need one kidney,
right. I could
some people can't have, whatever.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
Hey,
Yeah,
you can trade in all that toilet paper you got stored up, boarded up.
That's
You
right.
can get-
All I'm saying
God.
is you came up with that money for the Amico like instantly, no problem. And that's about the same price as your receiver. I say you're just being kind of chintzy.
Wow.
I'm telling you, not buying another
Wow.
controller that's
Yeah.
$60 because you've already got one.
Oh,
You're not
the
buying
Amico,
at
that's
least-
different. The
You're not
money was
buying
easy
at
for
least
that.
3 launch games.
Yeah,
That's
a
like
game system that I'm going to
$180.
play games on that doesn't require extra hardware. Boy, I'll tell
Hey,
you,
wait
this
a minute,
is
hold on.
amazing.
And we're gonna get a couple of stimulus package
I
checks
tell you,
too.
Mike would argue that there's 4
Come on now.
colors of lights in a
Hey, no
traffic
excuse.
light, man.
you know
The
what?
coronavirus is gonna pay for your Series X.
There you go.
And the new receiver.
There's red,
tell you,
yellow,
man.
green, and a purple light in the
I'll tell
traffic
you,
light.
Peter playing Ori right now might be the best move of everyone here.
I don't know. I was sleeping for a minute. So
You were asleep. We did wake you up for this. Okay, hold on, but I can put you back to sleep. Hey,
No.
spring training.
Fuck.
All right, so I don't know
There is
where
no
we went
spring
off.
training.
I don't know
Now, there
where we
was a
went off the
time, Mike,
rails.
before the optical out, there was a time where you just had a standard headset, right? And then when they went to the
Like-
optical audio out, you went out and bought a headset specifically for that.
No.
So you went out and bought
Headset
something
that
to
comes
take
with
advantage extra.
No,
You spent.
no, I didn't buy a headset with optical audio.
Wait.
You've got the wrong person.
I do.
So why are you upset about this?
So why are you upset about it then?
Because my receiver does not pass through 4K. So I
Okay.
cannot run my console.
Well, you're just not up with the times. You got to get with it. Get with the streaming,
run it
Mike.
through
Yeah,
you gotta,
4K.
Sure.
You gotta
No,
I
get
gotta
you.
spend
wait.
another. I have
He's
to.
right. No, he's right. He's right. Fuck the receiver. Just buy a new $1,200 TV and you solve your own problem.
There we go.
Right.
There we go. I got to spend more than $1,200 though, because $1,200 doesn't get me an optical out. I have to spend, 15. And then,
Well, then do it. Why don't-
there we go. So my Xbox One Series X actually only will cost me about $2,100.
Well,
That's a steal.
The truth
think
is,
about-
while you've
think
been
about how
upgrading all your
happy you'll be.
consoles, you've let everything else go to hell. So
Yeah,
you need
well,
to catch
know,
everything
because-
else up.
Well, because like possibly streaming in the future, I was able to rely on I want to hug my optical audio out. I need my
Peter
optical
likes that
audio
one,
out,
so he's
or
laughing.
I'm
Go
going
ahead.
to or I'm just going to give up gaming altogether.
Well,
I'm gonna go and be a
unlike
professional
you, I
snowboarder.
respect that, though. I respect that. If you give up, I still love you. I'm
You
not.
just
I'm not
told
judging
me
you.
earlier
Don't
you were
judge.
disappointed that I was going to do that.
Well, sure,
He's
there's
still he
a lot-
can
I
still
bet
love you and be
I
disappointed
still
in you.
love you. I don't hate you if you're giving up on optical. I love you.
Here, John does have a point. I mean, streaming only would suck because you're not in control of like the quality of the game that you're playing.
Where
Kinda
were you
like how
2 weeks
Mike's-
ago when he needed you?
Not wanting to be a part of that fucking train wreck.
Hey,
So no.
If streaming
No.
was that great, all these fanboys wouldn't be arguing about these consoles right now. These consoles are real important to people. They'll tell you they're not, but they are. The people love the
Like,
plastic.
people
man.
like John?
Love the plastic.
People like John.
Yeah.
I love the plastic. I like it's
Okay.
got a nice
So
smell
you're
to it.
right. You're
When
talking
I
about
get a new
the people-
Xbox
Do that
and I
thing.
pull that
I
Xbox
know.
Series
You're-
X out and I sniff,
Yeah, there it is.
I
Yeah,
just
I
think
mean-
you're talking like the people you're talking about. That's all I'm saying.
oh,
I'm
I don't know
just
about
saying.
that.
I'm just
I'm
saying. He just
passionate.
said.
There's a difference
John,
Of
between
course
being
you're
passionate.
passionate. I love your passion, John.
I have a mental capacity. Some of these people don't
Your-
even think. They're
your
just out there,
passion- Your passion is once again while we're still up at 12:30.
Is it?
It's 12:30.
I
know,
don't.
which means I know because you're gonna get like 2 hours of sleep. from here.
We need to have a fundraiser so you can get you a new receiver or whatever.
Exactly,
So
right.
we need to stay up
Oh.
late, like
There
a
we-
telethon.
there
Can we
we
have a
go.
telethon night?
There we go. A telethon to get Mike
We
a
need
new
a
receiver.
telethon night.
So that Mike, if a new receiver lands, if Amazon Drone delivers me a new receiver, then I will buy an
Accidentally.
Xbox Series. Accidentally, I will buy an Xbox Series X. On
You're gonna-
launch,
Look, all right, look, you're gonna buy one anyways. We're not doing this again.
I'm
Yeah,
not buying.
you're good.
I'm actually.
No,
not.
you're buying one.
Am I?
We
You're
went
buying
through
one.
this a couple
Am
years
I?
ago where he wasn't going to
It's-
get an X, and he didn't
Yeah,
He
have a
wasn't going to get the
14
Xbox One X. He
and-
says,
and
I'm
he-
not ready for it. I'm saving my
and-
money. And then all of
and
a
he
sudden,
has
hey,
an X
guys,
and a
guess what I
4K
got?
TV. And I did the same thing.
He'll break. He'll break.
I'll be watching you guys for your unboxings.
Oh, good.
While
Me
I'm
and
sitting
Peter
here,
will
while
open
I'm
ours
sitting here
together.
playing. Well, you guys can all do that while I'm sitting here playing my X.
Yeah,
Right.
your Series X.
Right.
because you guys are gonna buy me a receiver. So that's how I figured.
Hey, when you see that Halo Infinite custom Xbox Series X, you're gonna jump over to it.
Right.
The custom Series X that somebody
It
on
won't
Twitter
take
designs
much.
for him that's not real.
Right, exactly.
You'll be salivating like a dog
Gonna
with a fresh piece of meat. You'll be like, you know.
I ain't falling for this. You're gonna have a Series X on launch day.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll tell you what.
I stand up on this hill.
I'll tell you what. Let's make a bet.
Whether you pay for it or not. Whether you pay for it or not.
Okay. So, yeah. Again, if the Amazon drone accidentally is supposed to deliver one across the street and the drone just hits my house, or, you know, an arrow might hit the drone. I mean, I can't, you know. I have
What are we talking
I have a
about?
pretty good shot, you know, and then, you know, under cover of night, my son goes and gets the box, and it happens to be an Xbox One Series X. Okay, but I'm not. I'm sorry.
You sound like Assassin's Creed. What do you mean in the cover of night?
We're not going to question the shady methods that happen. You're going to have one on launch.
In one box is the Series X, and the other box is a shiny new receiver. And I'll send out a wonderful thank you on Twitter to whoever got it for me.
Well, look, Peter's the deciding factor because Peter, he was kind of upset about the optical audio, but I think Peter would still get the Series X, though, wouldn't you? Even if it didn't, Peter, or that wouldn't change it for you, would it?
And he'll get a new headset to go with it.
Well, my headset, one of my headsets.
Not the rigs, though, right?
Not the rigs.
Not the rigs. Yeah.
I think that's a shitty headset I have. I don't know where it is.
What's wrong with that one, Peter? What don't you like about it? Or is it
first the microphone kind of got static in it, and you kind of have to adjust it, and then the static might go away. And now the left speaker did not work, so open it up, and there are wires loose and other stuff. So.
Oh crap!
Yeah, not very good.
De Niro, I have no more connections. They're all gone.
I know.
It kind of hurts, but also they're free, so.
Right. You know, I was kind of mad with GameStop. I went in there last week, and I've got like 130,000 GameStop points. And they've changed their reward system, and the highest you can only get like one. You can only redeem points enough for one coupon now, and it's only for like $15 or $20 for used games. You can't even before. You used to be able to. You used to be able to order things. You used to be able to use large amounts of points. Now it's a total. I told the gal at GameStop. I said, "This is a waste, man." I've purchased tons of consoles and games over the years, and now I've got all these points, and they're basically useless. I can only use one at a time for $10 or $15 here and there, and I got to use it on used items. It's horrible. So I can't even access all the points, you know.
You remember when the points could be used for cool things like posters?
Yeah, toys or your figurines or all.
Figurines,
you can't do that no more.
They had comic book variant covers that were exclusive to them.
Oh, speaking one more topic, Mike. Speaking about GameStop,
Yeah. So
they came out and said today that they're making their employees work because they're saying that it's essential work that they be at GameStop with all the coronavirus and stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because I actually grabbed this. Hang on, let me see if this particular will load up. So, yeah, this will be our final thing of the night.
Are they selling gaming toilet paper there now?
Yeah.
For them to make their
No,
points?
they can't even get a hold of it.
I want to say more than just current topic GameStop, but I'm just going to leave it like that. So, yeah. So, Chris sort of alerted us to this earlier tweet where I thought that tweet was fake. until I read
Right.
this. Until I read this nonsense. I mean, first off, only allowing 10 customers in the store at any given time.
That's all the customers in a day.
Well, there's that. But
Well,
hey,
business as
De Niro,
think
have a
about
great
the-
night, brother. Have a
Think
great
about
night,
the
De Niro.
square footage area in a GameStop, Mike. There's only so many square feet. You got 10 people in there, and you're supposed to keep the 6-foot distance. I mean, there's only so many places you can stand to even get the 6 foot, even with 10
Ain't no way in a mall they're gonna say, "I'm sorry, you're the 11th person. You have to get out." Ain't no way.
There's no GameStops in. Oh, that ain't true. There's still
There is.
Yeah, there are. Right
There's
here,
one
we
down
got.
here.
There's
Except now the
one
mall's
here.
closed.
Yeah, there's one. There's
a couple here.
Actually, there's one in the mall up here in Bel Air, and there's one in the mall in White Marsh. But
I
even at
just
the,
realized that.
what are they gonna do? Lock the doors after 10 people are in there? Ain't no way. I'm sorry, sir, you can't come in. There's 10 people in the store. Take your money elsewhere. Ain't happening. That's not happening. So they're not gonna enforce that. Number one. Number two, reducing our store hours from 12 to 8. That's your busiest time. Like the malls here in Maryland are closed at 5 p.m. So that's your busy time, 5 to 8. That's when people are off work. That's when they want to go buy games. So reducing their store hours, that's not doing anything.
Right.
You know, yeah, I love this one. Rolling out delivery at door service. So you knock on the door and they're just gonna white glove you out your game. Here you go.
Right.
So no Dreadpool. I was just kidding.
They're gonna deliver to your house.
Nope. They're going to They're going to let you come to the front door of the. See, look. We'll allow customers to pick up their purchases at the front door of our U.S. store locations. So
They're gonna
you
throw it on the
still-
ground. They're gonna close the door.
I mean, what are they going to do? Like have Major Nelson put on those white gloves and, hand you your package at the door? It's silly.
Right? Suspending our video game and customer electronic trade-in practices until Sunday. So you can't. So now, not only can you not go in the store, but you can't trade your shit in.
Right.
So,
I have coronavirus in it.
Right. We want you to. We only want you to buy our stuff. We don't want to. Yeah. All right. So postponing all gaming events and midnight launch activities. Okay. Disabling all interactive game stations in our stores. So, okay, that's gonna help. Encouraging customers to leverage our online. So, in other words, use our website instead of coming to the store. But if you come to the store and there's 10 people in it, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you.
And don't bring
Well,
don't bring your disease-ridden games to us.
You know what else is really fucking stupid about this is I bet you any money that the company is still going to be bitching at employees about power-up reward sales, and they're going to be bitching about their sales like during this time. Like they don't give a fuck about their employees. That is one of the shittiest companies I've ever worked for.
Here's the thing that really hit me about, though. GameStop is emphasizing that this is essential retail. Now, this is what I have a problem with.
Yeah.
We've got all this coronavirus. Buying video games is not essential
no.
retail.
Oh, no. That's not what they're arguing. They're arguing that they sell keyboards.
That's what it says here. It says that the GameStop is on that they don't want to lock down, that they're emphasizing that it is essential retail. And it compares GameStop to groceries and pharmacies, which that is totally inaccurate.
No, they're arguing because they sell keyboards, mics, and mice, so that if you have to work from home, they're essential. Even though 90% of the times you're in GameStop, they don't actually have any PC shit. So
right,
that's a fucking lie.
Yeah, that's a crock of you know what.
But
it's not essential in a time of despair and pandemics. Video games are not essential to your life. I mean,
it's literally them taking advantage of the fact that people are trying to work from home and they need these products. Even though you can go to Target and buy a keyboard, you can go anywhere else on the planet to buy a keyboard.
Dreadpool's right. Dreadpool says in the chat, it's essential for them to keep their doors open. That's what's essential. It's to GameStop. It's not our health or safety.
Here's the funny part is they don't mention any of that in their press releases. So the original PR that they did before they updated to all of this stuff literally said, we've assembled an internal COVID-19 task force, to follow the procedures and guidelines recommended by the CDC. So in response, we're taking the following steps. And all they talk about is, we are providing, hold on, I'm not kidding. This is, ready? In response, GameStop is taking the following steps. We are providing all our stores with the necessary supply of disinfectant materials and hand sanitizer to frequently clean high-touch surfaces to kill germs and ensure our stores are a safe environment. That we went from that to, we're only going to allow 10 people in the store and we're going to turn off our game stations. That's what they went to. All associates have been instructed to stay home if they're sick. Okay.
Yeah.
We want to remind all customers to consult the CDC for COVID-19 symptom information and request that you follow recommended self-quarantine guidelines. That we went from, do me a favor, if you're not sick, please don't come to our store, to, if you're the 11th person, you can't come in. I mean, seriously.
This is another thing I found on Twitter that's really fucking stupid. So, Nintendo, I guess, posted this. There's like the whole thing about it is trending. So it's like, we have received reports of local authorities visiting stores in an attempt to enforce closure, despite our classification. Store managers are approved to provide the document attached to law enforcement as needed. And it's a note that's saying, thank you for what you're doing to keep us all safe. If you have questions about our store's hours, operations, or policies, could I ask you to please call our corporate office? There's the GameStop corporate office number, 844-993-3145 if you want to have fun with that. Thank you for your understanding. What a fucking shitty company, man. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
A police officer comes into the store telling you to shut the damn store down, and you're like, "No, here's our corporate number. Call them."
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I hope Reggie's body's ready because he's walking into a mess.
Yeah, he really is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. He's going to need more in his body to be ready. Jeez.
Like was brought up, they're more worried about. They're already struggling.
Yep.
So if they
that's what
keep
this
their
is
doors
about.
open during this coronavirus right now, it may put them under, and they may not come back from it.
This is exactly it.
Now, but the only thing I worry about is the employees, because
I do too.
They don't have
Absolutely.
a job, not getting paid. Then
I'm not gonna lie to you. I guarantee you, your GameStop employee has another job.
Yeah, they probably do. Yeah.
If you're not a store manager, GameStop does not pay their employees shit.
You know what's sad about it, guys, is I still kind of like walking into it. Like a long time ago when it was Babbage's or EB Games, man, I used to love going in there. I mean, they had computer games. Mm-hmm. I could go in there and get games for my computer. I could get games for my console. It was a nice, clean store. It wasn't Funko Pop figures and gadgets. It was just games, controllers, keyboards, all kinds of stuff. And man, it's fallen so far from the tree. What's happened? But I kind of hate to. I would love to have another store. Look, if GameStop goes out, I would hope that there would be some other thing that takes its place, or somebody that takes it different. Because I kind of like having a gaming store to walk.
What'll happen is the big box stores will simply take that, because that's what's hurting them as well. Back in the day, Walmart didn't sell video games.
Right.
Target didn't sell video games. Now every big box store sells them. Plus, you didn't have Amazon. You didn't have, just simply didn't have other places to go, and that's what's hurting. That's why they went to trying to sell retro games in some of their stores. Like my two GameStops don't even have retro games, and trying to sell Funko Pop crap and things and T-shirts and stuff, because they've lost the market for video games, which is what they were built on. Yeah. So it's
like video killed the radio and online killed the retail stores, because It's like Block-
stores.
like Blockbuster. Blockbuster had a chance to go in with Netflix, and they didn't want to.
Yep.
No, we're not going to do that. And look where Netflix is at, and where's Blockbuster?
Right.
I don't think GameStop's going to be around much longer.
Do you even are there even places to rent other than like Redbox or Netflix? Are there even video rental stores anymore?
Family videos are still
Yeah,
around.
there's some places.
We don't. Yeah, as I say, we don't have any.
Yeah.
We have none around us.
Or
It's
you have the adults. You got the adults.
well,
please.
right, but that's a whole different. Right.
Right.
I can't get my Disney movies there. Well, I can get some.
Yeah,
I get certain
You
types
can
of
get
Disney.
some
movies.
Disney
Yeah, I was gonna
movies
say. But yeah,
Different
for me, it's Redbox or Netflix or nothing.
The library.
Or the library. That's actually true. The library. So I can get all their disease-infected movies that they took in.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
I'll be honest. For me, it's Amazon. I can order online, Best Buy or Walmart. I don't go into stores and buy my games anymore, or I just buy them digitally.
I ain't gonna lie anymore. If we are looking at a movie we're not sure about, we just do the digital running on I think iTunes.
Right.
It's like the same price as it would be to just rent it at the store. Got to worry about making the trip and having it be late or any of that crap. So for digital, I do like that a lot.
Yep. All right. I think at 12:43 we have gone. We're almost at the 3-hour mark, and I'm actually impressed that Dreadpool. I think Dreadpool is the last man standing in the chat room.
Is he?
Because De Niro was out, Niles out, Z Black might be in there, but does anybody have any final quick hits? I have something to leave everyone with, but I'm wondering if anybody has any really quick things before we roll out.
Is yours that the 2021 Game of the Year is available now?
I know. I'm gonna wait for it to come out on Game Pass though.
Yeah, that'll be in 2021. That's about right.
And it'll still be my Game of the Year.
Exactly. That's on par. That's what I'm expecting.
All right.
No, I don't. I think
So,
we've.
I don't know. I guess totally off the topic of gaming. How y'all doing with all the craziness going on?
We're okay.
Oh, I'm still having to go to work, Frankie. We have probably about 4,000 employees where I work, and we're part of the UAW. So there have been some UAW plants that went on like a 2 or 3 week shutdown, and they've been talking about between our union and management. But right now, it's day by day. But we're getting more cases at work where, like today, they walked 9 people out of work today, and they put masks on them, and they walked them out because they were running like a temperature and not feeling good. Now they're not. Those 9 people, I don't know if they're confirmed cases yet, but these people were getting sick. So I think it's just a matter of time. I mean, I'm not afraid of dying or anything, but I think it's just a matter of time. I think this sickness is going to spread. I think we're just kind of at the beginning of it. And some of these workplaces, they may not want to shut the doors. And I feel sorry for small businesses like GameStop and stuff. Yeah. But
Frankie doesn't.
But GameStop put themselves where they're at right now before this stuff happened. So, but there are some smaller companies now that have 500 employees or less or whatever, and being off 2 or 3 weeks and not making any money is going to really hurt those companies. So, financially, there may be a lot of small business that is affected by all this. But I still have to go to work until further notice. So there's a lot of people I work around, and I work on machines, and I'm touching equipment and tools and this and that. And I work real closely with people. So I'm in like a perfect environment to catch something, so I'm so far I've been lucky. Now, Shamra, my wife, she's been sick for 5 days, hasn't been at work. And she was having chest pain and couldn't hardly breathe. The past couple nights, she's been sleeping out in the recliner because she can't lay down in bed. And we took her to the doctor, and I was real upset because we went in the doctor's office and they said, well, Mrs. Place, do you think you have the coronavirus? I looked at the doctor. I said, "What the hell are you talking about? That's why I brought my wife in here so you could tell me if she had it or not."
Yeah.
And so he asked her a series of 5 or 6 questions, and he says, "Well, Mrs. Place, I think you have a virus." And I was like,
What kind of virus?
Instead
are we
of,
talking?
instead of, he went.
right. Yeah, there was no, it was. And I said, "Well, what kind of virus does she have? Is it influenza A? Is it B? Is it?" "Well, we don't know because we don't have the test kits for the coronavirus." And I said, "Well, what the hell are we doing here? I'm wasting money." So I paid the copay. We walked out and they gave her a prescription for prednisone to help with her chest congestion and breathing. But I mean, the thing I'm worried about, they say that sometimes you can be around someone that may have it, and maybe I've got it and I'm not showing any symptoms. And because they don't have the test ready, I'm going to work because I have to still make money. I can't just stay home because work isn't going to pay me sick leave unless I officially have it. They're not going to pay me sick leave to stay at home if my wife has it. I actually have to have it. So I have to continue to go to work to provide for my family. So it puts us in a, I have to do this, but I could be getting people sick as we speak. And I would hate for that to be the case. So that's,
that's
that's my story.
my company also. I can get 10 days of paid leave if I can like prove that I have the virus. I'm like, okay.
If I can
Doesn't it
prove
take
you have the
like
virus.
yeah, doesn't it take like
Wow.
4 weeks to recover from it? So I'm like, okay, so 10 days, okay, I guess.
I mean, this
whatever.
is like umbrella corporation stuff,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like me.
Oh my
still
God,
have to go
you're
to work.
right.
I work on
Dude, this
Pretty
whole thing
much,
is a
but-
marketing campaign for Resident Evil 3.
yeah.
Look, I'm telling you, I'm just telling you that George Carlin talked about this 30 years ago. Look up the skit. Just go to YouTube and type in George Carlin, "The Planet Will Be Fine." He was Nostrafrickin-Damus on this. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Down to
It's
talking
crazy.
about a virus killing us all. I mean,
Yeah.
just saying.
I'm not as worried about the coronavirus. I'm more worried about people, the way people have reacted to
Yeah.
Oh,
this
yeah.
whole situation, where they're just going crazy at the stores, and I don't know. And then like you, John, like I work in the aviation industry where I work on, we work on we have machines, tooling.
Right.
We're not very close, but we have our own desks and work areas. We're close enough to sneeze on each other, walk through it or whatever. And my work is kind of like, okay, well, we're gonna have someone go around and wipe everything down. We want y'all to wipe your tools down with alcohol. Don't get so close to each other. And of course, if you feel like you're sick, come to the nurse's office, and then they'll send us home. They sent one person home because he was worried about his wife who went to a salon, and there was somebody there that came back from traveling, and they might have it. So they sent him home. But they did tell us they would, of course, if we have to take time off, you can use your PTO, and then they'll
Right.
let us go to 80 hours negative. So we'll still
Chris,
get paid.
there's so many things that we do during the day, like you at work with your job,
Yeah.
that you don't even realize, like you take for granted, like paperwork that you do, the time clock that you clock in, the gate that you
Yeah.
push to go
Yeah.
through into your building, the people you have meetings with, just the desk you sit at, things you touch. And it's
The
hard to
restroom.
remember all that during the course of the day,
And supposedly somebody stole somebody's been stealing toilet paper, and they broke into the cage upstairs that we have where
Oh,
the
shoot.
cleaners keep the toilet paper. Somebody broke into it. I'm like, are you kidding me? People are gonna risk losing their job over toilet paper.
I know it's madness.
Yeah. And like my wife, she works for Oracle, so she gets to work from home. And of course, my little one, my 6-year-old, she's on spring break this week, so she doesn't. I don't think she she'll find out next week you don't have school, and who knows when she's going back to school. She'll have remote. They're gonna do, they're gonna send some either print out some sheets to work on, or we can go pick them up. And then like my oldest, she's a senior in high school, so, but all her classes are through junior college here, so she'll be doing those remotely. So she's fine on that part. But what's gonna suck is if we can't have a regular graduation ceremony, in June. So and then for her to start when she goes to university, she might be starting that from home too. Not be able to experience classrooms at the university. So it's kind of stressful. It's affected a lot of people. So who knows when this is going to pass.
That's what I tell you what, I'm glad we get on here every week, guys. I know not all of us can make it every week, but I thoroughly look forward to getting on and chatting with you guys each and every week. Mike and Peter and you, Chris and Frankie. I mean, there's no other thing that I'd rather be doing on a Thursday night than be chatting with games with you guys and sharing our thoughts. And this is really special to me. Ever since I got back on the show and you guys welcomed me on the show, man, I've had a blast. We've had some laughs. And I don't know, it means the world to me. So thanks, Mike, Peter, and everybody for having. I mean, you guys have become really good friends, and I really like. I know I talk a lot, but I get so excited when I'm around you guys. It's kind of hard not to not talk. You know what I mean? I
agree. It's like I told my wife, I go, if I get quarantined at home, I got some buddies that I know I can just jump on and game with. I'm so grateful for you guys. Yeah, just very grateful for you guys. I mean, I love you guys. Y'all are my great friends, some of my best friends, and I look forward to this. And, when I can get my ass back on the Xbox and play some games with y'all and get in party chat. And, a lot of the guys in the chat, people that I know, Coop and Nate and, Crazy Juan. And, I miss all that and I enjoy all that. And I'm grateful for you guys. So, especially in a time like this.
I feel like I'm missing out not being quarantined because that's what I would be doing. I'd actually have time to play Sea of Thieves again.
Yeah, I want to jump back in that too. Yeah.
See, the problem is, guys, I could take off work. I have plenty of vacation time, and I could take off. The problem is that they're trying to figure out something at work to put in place. I said, look, why should I have to burn my vacation time if my wife is deathly ill, or if, let's say, your kids, or if I need to be at home? I mean, I wish there was something put in place where, see, I can't take a day off without pay. So if I miss work, I get paid hourly, but if I miss work, I have to burn some of my vacation time.
Yeah.
They're not going to get mad at me because I miss, and I was like, well, with this coronavirus, is there an option to where I could just take off a few days, even maybe without pay, to where I could maybe help my wife until she gets better, and then that way I'm not burning up all my vacation early in the year, So that's kind of a situation I'm running into.
But I am disappointed with some of the businesses. Like, I even feel like the company I work for, they're more worried about their bottom end, which I understand. We got work. We have a lot of work. We have customers that we need to worry about. Cause we got jet engines that we need to, take care of. And, we have engines that work for FedEx and UPS. And
well, get your ass to work.
I'm trying. We're still working, sir. And so
that's all I keep telling people too.
Right. But so they try to, right, like today they just told us we're gonna want y'all to come in an hour early and leave an hour early, so that there's a gap in the shift to second shift, so that the cleaning crew can have time to clean up the place.
Right.
So they're doing all these other things they can do without shutting down for a couple weeks.
Right.
I don't know. So yeah, it's kind of stressful. And then just trying to worry about trying to get, go to the store and be able to get food and, stuff that you always took for granted. And you have to stand in lines now. And, you're only allowed to get, so much, That's what our stores are doing now. Because I went last Saturday and I told the wife, I go, it's getting crazy out there. And we were already due to go grocery shopping. I said, we better go because we're not going to be able to get, some of the stuff that we normally do. So we went at 6 a.m. in the morning, and the parking lot was already almost full.
Right.
Like a busy Thanksgiving, day before. And we walked in there, and it took us about 2 hours to get out. We were in the line for about an hour just to get to the register. And so now the store has changed policy to where, because they realize people are getting crazy. They can't keep the stuff stocked enough, and people keep, hoarding. So now what they've done is go from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And what they do is you get in the line, and they only let so many people in at a time as people are leaving. And they let you, and you have to get in the line just to get into the dairy area and to the area where all the toilet paper's at. And they have a list of how much you can buy.
If you're the 11th person,
you gotta wait.
You take your shitty ass somewhere else.
I mean, who's going to even enforce that at GameStop? Are they going to have a little sash on, like a bright yellow sash, like they're the GameStop Gestapo, and they say, hey, you're the 11th person, you're out of here. They're not. I don't think they're going to do that.
No, especially when you only have like one person working at a time. Like they're not a staff store. Right. So you have like maybe an assistant manager working, maybe a senior game advisor working, and that's it. So you're not going to have one of those people standing there counting the people coming in the door.
Plus, with emotions being high and people already being kind of a little more agitated, they go in and they say, like if me and Peter went to GameStop and they said, hey, you two cats, you guys aren't allowed here. You're number 11 and 12. I think we would be kind of irate, especially if you spent the time to drive to the store and you're anxious, ready to go in and buy a game, and then they tell you can't come in. That's going to cause some issues. Heated tempers.
Fine, digital it is. Good luck.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, that it's a good somber thing to end on.
Yeah. But like you said, at least we have each other. We can game together, during this crap. So.
Yep, very much so.
Yeah, so true.
I think we'll get through it. We'll get through it.
And thanks, Z Blackrider. He's still in the chat.
Yeah, him and Dreadpool, our last two guys. I was actually looking. Our last two guys, because the other two people are us. So I do want to leave you guys, those of you who are still here, I want to leave you with something that I found that I have no idea what this is. I know that there's going to be some sort of announcement on March 25th, but I just want to throw this out here.
Virtua Fighter. Yes, Virtua Fighter 6.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's Virtua Fighter. I bet it is.
That's Keanu Reeves, Matrix.
Yeah, because that's definitely not that's definitely not Akira.
No.
Oh no, that's Shenmue 6.
No,
they're not skipping 3 Shenmues to get to 6.
No.
Why not? Everyone else can skip numbers.
That's Virtua Fighter 6, I bet. Look at his fighting. That's really focusing on the fighting, the robe, the belt, the stance. I think that's Virtua Fighter.
And since
you're up to 6 right now. How many?
5 was the last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said though, if that's Akira, he's a little thin.
Right. Maybe that's Akira's son or something. Maybe they, or how they do that kind of stuff.
The Mortal Kombat thing.
Maybe. I just know
that's just how he looks in high definition.
Right, as they scrunch the pixels. Yeah. I'm just saying, if this is truly Virtua Fighter 6, this will be. Yeah.
That's my favorite fighting game, Virtua Fighter. I love that series. That's my favorite
fighting game system. My favorite fighting game for many a decade.
That good old 32X game. Get it on the Dreamcast.
I have the 32X. Hang on a second. Talk for a second. I'll go show you what.
Do you have the Saturn version, Mike?
Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
Peter, how you been doing, man?
Good.
Are you working from home?
I'm always working from home.
Oh, you lucky son of a bitch.
Yeah, him and Mike get to work from home.
Oh,
But now the whole family is home, which is like
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
it's
So
kind
it's
of
like work.
changes it and
Work at home
that.
now.
Yeah, exactly.
Peter, do you have do you have trouble sometimes? Like, I'm sure you've got a little more freedom, maybe working at home. Or are there times where you're like, did you? I don't know. It's hard to decide. Like, you could probably do a little more work, or calling it an early day. I mean, do you ever run into situations where it's hard, because
No, but it gives you lots of flexibility, like
right.
Leaving, stopping work on time so I can take my daughter to whatever activity she needs.
Nice.
And then,
Very nice.
But then the drawback is that, at night you do more.
Yes.
There's other
Right.
stuff to do. It's like,
Yeah.
All right, so
so
remix, VF remix.
Nice.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, nice.
And of course, as you know, many of us got this for free. Because it says specifically on it, not for resale, not for rental.
Right.
This was an apology for Virtua Fighter Saturn. And then of course, honestly, of the 32-bit era, the best fighting game of the 32-bit era.
Awesome. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Really awesome. That's it.
This had they, if you remember, the PlayStation.
You remember how beautiful Lau's robe looked?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He had the green and red. The robe was beautiful.
Yep. So, if you remember the pack-in game for the PlayStation? The original PlayStation? Remember it?
Ooh, I didn't have that. I don't know. Yeah.
Frankie?
Nope.
Battle Arena Toshinden.
Oh, Toshinden. That's
Yep.
right.
And
You got one of them laying around?
I do not have a Battle Arena Toshinden.
I saw a copy the other day. It was like $15 or something.
Yeah. And just so you know, a version of that eventually came to the Saturn. But Virtua Fighter 2 should have been the game to go up against that, and instead it was the really crappy Virtua Fighter that came with that the Saturn launched at the beginning that was horrible. So it was for two, this was this could have turned the tide, and it didn't. So
I would hold up my copy of Virtua Fighter 5 Final, but it's digital and I don't have a physical copy. I love physical games.
I like both. It's weird, Frankie. For a long time, I was a physical kind of, and then, back on the Xbox One, when it launched for the first 3 or 4 years, I started buying all kinds of digital games. And now I've kind of reverted a little bit more back to the physical. Like I kind of go in waves. Like sometimes I'll see something that catches my eye and I'm like, man, I'd like to have that case. I'd like to have some for collector reasons. So I'm a big collector of things. And so lately I've been kind of going back more to the physical media, but I kind of go back and forth, just.
Yeah. Although, hilariously enough, actually, Virtua Fighter 5 was the very first PlayStation 3 game that I bought.
Really?
Yeah, because one of my coworkers talked me into getting that Metal Gear bundle when that came out, and I saw Virtua Fighter 5 was like $20, and I was like, oh, dude, I love this game. So I bought that. So when I got my PlayStation 3 finally, like, it came with Metal Gear 4. Still haven't played that. But I did play like a lot of Virtua Fighter 5 for the first couple weeks I had that thing. That was a good game.
5 was pretty good.
5 was good, yeah.
I think 3... Well, 2 was my favorite. Complete favorite. I think 3 for me is, though, where it might have started to peak back down. I mean, 5 was good, but I don't think there was any of the series that was as good as 2. 2 just had such... I can't even put my finger on it. Like, I would love to watch them fight, like, and just, when they block, and when, the way that these guys would block with real moves, and even though you were only hitting one button, and that was the other thing. This is so simple to pick up. It's 3 buttons.
Right.
So
well, like you said, Mike, the moves were like you could tell the different styles between karate, ninjutsu, judo, drunken style. Virtua Fighter is one of those games where it was obvious, and it was really good. The different fighting styles was excellent. Some of these games, the fighting style is different, but not so much. But in Virtua Fighter, they were like pretty accurate. The blocking, the moving, the throws. How they stood, how they kicked, and did things like that. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I only played Virtua Fighter on the arcade. I don't think I've ever played it on console. But I remember playing them old school on the arcade. I enjoyed them. Definitely were different from Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
There was always a big. I remember back in the day, Tekken would come out and Virtua Fighter would come out. And there was always, it seemed like those two were always competing,
Yeah.
They would come out about the same time and everybody was arguing over which one was best,
Yeah.
Take us home, Mike.
Yep. I am going to call it here for us.
You sure about that?
Yes, I am sure. Unless you got something for us, Peter?
No. Not really.
No.
We'll keep it for another day.
Yeah.
Keep going until
I know.
Peter finishes Ori.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh
no.
shit, no. All right,
Oh,
want to thank everybody. Want to thank Z Black and Dreadpool for being our last two standing at 1 o'clock in the morning. We'll be back next week with more. We still have some other things to talk about that we still haven't. No, we're not going to keep going, Dreadpool. Sorry. But we have such a good time here. All of a sudden, we're not realizing how much time we're really spending. So, and of course, 3/4 of that is John talking, but that's okay. We love you, John.
Oh, shoot.
No,
I want to have to buy Peter like a Christmas gift this year for keeping us.
Frankie finally had to
You
tell
know
us
what you
to
could,
shut up.
you know what you could buy me for Hanukkah, John.
Oh, I know a receiver.
All right. So we'll thank everybody for hanging out with us who could. And of course, we'll be back next Thursday night at 9:30. By then, I will have a remade outro video, which I still don't have because I worked on our intro video. Don't have an outro video, but I'll have one next week. And that'll be that. So, from all of us here at Next Level Gaming, stay safe, stay healthy, play on, gamers.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate everybody.
Mike, you're doing this all right.